It is the happiest of days today, y'all. It's the happiest of days because I'm officially done at Walmart. And today, I am here. Oh shit, hi. I need to get my fucking thing back on. Hi. Hello, my name's Travis and I'm the president of the Lawn Boy Club, the large enjoyer of games, wrestling, not Walmart anymore, and my stinky cat. Did I mention I'm done at Walmart? Because I'm done at Walmart. I'm very done at Walmart, and I am very happy about that. I am so fucking relieved that my time there has come to an end, and I start work at a new place.
I'm pissed you won't buy Cheetos from Walmart anymore.
Listen, Homunculus. You're right. You are very right. I'll find another place, okay? You don't have to worry about that. I'll find another place for you to get your fix. Don't worry about that shit. Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's Lawn Boy Club meeting. Tonight we will be continuing our expedition into AEW Fight Forever as we finish up Danhausen's playthrough here. We've been having a lot of fun with it so far. Excuse me. We've been having a lot of fun with it so far. There have even been times where we've tried to win matches, because for the majority of the time we've just been losing matches on purpose. Danhausen, more like, yeah, because he fucking hoses the competition. But yes. Hold on. Tom Street. What is that a reference to? Educate me because I'm stupid. Educate me because I'm stupid. I just want to make sure. Dan Hoser. I'm just making a pun. No, I know. I know. Hold on. Oh, hoser is a Canadian slang term for a foolish, unsophisticated, or unintelligent person, often a beer-drinking man. My knowledge is Canadian slang for a foolish person. Alright, well, yes. Yes, that right there makes sense, because Danhausen has been pretty foolish throughout this playthrough. He allowed for the dissolution of Dan Hobson. He completely just sucked eggs when he was in the inner circle. And now it looks like that he's about to have a team with Riho, which is Rehausen, as we've taken to call it. I'm excited to see where that goes, frankly. But before we do that, I just need to take a victory lap here, chat. I need to take a victory lap because I don't think I've said enough, but I'm done with Walmart. It cannot be stressed enough how done I am with Walmart. It cannot be stressed enough. Which means I could say all the things I've been wanting to say about Walmart. Thank you. I appreciate that. Which means finally, at long last, I can talk about the things I've wanted to talk about with Walmart for a while now. Starting with all of the weird Jesus stuff.
Spare serotonin, please.
Hold on. I need to get my serotonin fixed. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, chief among them, all of the weird Jesus stuff, specifically the stuff that I see in the bathrooms, because it's always one of two things in the bathrooms, right? It's either one, pamphlets, right? Like little homemade, like, Jesus pamphlets that I see, like, in the bathroom stalls, being like, Have you accepted God into your heart? So on and so forth. Or these little Jesus like statuettes that they put like, you know, on the sink countertops. And they're in like little different colors and stuff like that. And they're like these little like cartoon versions of Jesus. They got like little dot eyes. They got like little toothy grins. And it's like Jesus loves you. Which I guess is a nice sentiment. But I'm also just like, you know, I'm in the public restroom. I'm in like the most unflattering place I could be in my life. You know? This right here is not a good time for me. And you're using this as an opportunity to peddle Jesus to me? Put stuff in the bathroom is sanctioned by the store. I have to imagine it's a rando. Because like people will just leave stuff in Walmart all the time. Like they'll just leave like religious stuff, primarily Christians, in the Walmart. And again, I'm just like, I'm in a public bathroom. This is not where I want to be praising Holy Mount Zion over here. You know, the only thing I'm praising is the 5-minute break that I have from like my coworkers, so I can let a mean shit loose. You know, I'm not sitting here thinking about Jesus. Okay, I'm sitting here thinking about why did I eat the fried chicken? You know, why did I eat the fried chicken? I should have known that it would give me indigestion and that I would be on this toilet for 15 minutes. You know? I should have known that I'd be on this toilet for 15 minutes. I don't want God seeing that. I don't want Jesus seeing that. Can they like look the other way just this one time? You know? I get very insecure when I know that people are watching me on the toilet, okay? Even when I'm standing at the urinal. Is that like a thing for anyone else? Turn the other cheek. Turn the other cheek. We call that a projectile fire. Ugh. Anyways, another thing that I want to talk about with it is your music selection. Okay? We did do a Walmart fucking radio tier list, right? A Walmart core tier list, as I like to call it. Not too long ago. Oh no, Country Hell, Modern Country Hell. That's only part of it, you know? Like there is some modern country on there, but it's kind of a blend of that and just kind of like, you know, contemporary pop hits. Which that includes The Weeknd. And I like me some Weeknd, you know? I enjoy me some Abel Tesfaye every now and then. What I don't enjoy is a breakbeat remix of the Baha Men's Who Let the Dogs Out. I don't know who made that, but whoever made a Baha Boys like dance remix is fucking going to hell. They are going to hell. All right. Yeah, they made remixes of what is ostensibly a children's song. Like, if you ever heard that song outside of like the context of children's media, because personally I've not, you know, I've been on this earth for 26 years and not once have I heard that song outside of the context of like a kid's movie. You know? Like, that is ostensibly children's music. And you're gonna make me listen to that. Yeah, just to make sure we're talking Who Let the Dogs Out, right? Yes. The one's like, who let the dogs out? Who? That shit. Like, someone took that and they made a dance remix of that. And whoever made that remix is fucking going to hell. Because it is genuinely some of the most baffling stuff I've ever heard in my life. I heard it in MIB2 and Monster Jam. Was Who Let the Dogs Out in Monster Jam? Hold on. I'm checking the soundtrack now. You got me checking this fucking soundtrack. Hold on. It's the theme song for Monster Mutt. Okay, well, I mean, at least it makes sense that it's like, hold on, Monster Jam soundtrack. Oh, Monster Jam video game soundtrack. Probably just like the normal one, right? Yeah, Monster Jam soundtrack. This doesn't sound... This doesn't seem right. Monster Jam 2007 soundtrack. Dude, I found the sauce. This is insane. It's a theme song from Monster Mutt. Oh, you're probably thinking about like just normal like Monster Jam stuff, right? Oh, Monster Jam the Motorsport. Got it. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to... This is probably not a good overview, but let me see here. We have... Dude, that's probably the third Saliva song anyone's heard of. Dope Ride. That's definitely the third one I've heard of. Of course you have Click Click Boom on there. They do play Who Let the Dogs Out for Monster Mutt. Or at least they used to. Well, at least that's like, you know, a tangentially dog themed thing, you know? Okay, this right here looks like a playlist. I'm literally like just checking this shit. Here, where's Monster Mutt? Monster Mutt. I'm wondering if I'm gonna find this here. What about 10,000 Pound Hound? Is that anything? Bats the Bone theme song is probably just... let's see. The Punisher. I've not heard of or seen 10,000 Pound Hound. All right. Let's see here. Dude, am I gonna find this here? Okay, you know what? Monster Mutt. Oh, that's cute. How about Monster Mutt theme? This shit is for sure going to get me claimed, but I'm gonna figure this out. Oh my god, it is! Alright, we don't... Wow. Okay, cool. Alright, well, alright, that's fun. Dude, that thing was so loud. That shit was so loud on my end. But yeah, that's another reason why I'm glad I'm not at Walmart anymore, so I don't need to listen to a dance beat of Who Let the Dogs Out, amongst many other just like baffling music choices.
Jira, WHO let the dogs out. Terrier eating all my Cheetos.
I think with speaking like that, you need to fucking... Oh, when you type in WHO in all capital letters, it reads it like the World Health Organization. That's fucked. They're eating all my Cheetos. Well, listen. They can have them. I think you need to...
WHO.
Yep, there you go. I had no clue that was a thing, honestly. I had no clue that was a fucking thing. What was I gonna look at? Oh yeah, that's right. So SpongeBob Movie 3 theme. Like I can't even remember the goddamn themes of the SpongeBob movies. You're recommended is infected with Monster Jam now, as well as like sleep mouth taping, which is crazy. I don't want that. Do you want to see like one of the craziest things I have ever listened to in my life? I swear to God, this shit played over the intercom when I last year, right? I think it played like in like August or so. And I was just out on the floor, you know, doing my regular stuff when I swear to God, this shit played over the intercom. Not Kroger. not Kroger. That did not play over the intercom. God damn it. Dude, just let me listen to the fucking funny SpongeBob music. yeah. A fucking Kroger ad played over it. Dude, fuck Walmart. You know what, Homunculus? That's where I'm getting your Cheetos from now on. I'm getting them from Kroger. Anyways, I was just out on the floor, minding my own business, when I was stun locked by this.
Esto un party por debajo del agua. Baby, busca tu paraguas. Estamos bailando como peces en el agua.
I swear to God, I had to do a double take. Like, I stopped what I was doing. I heard the nose flute, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? I was literally about to go up to the front because I thought someone up for the front was like fucking with me for a second. Like, I thought, because like my roommate is a team lead in the front end, right? And he's the one that speaks over, you know, like the PA system whenever there's something that needs to be done. And I would not put it past him to fuck with me like that, you know? I would not put it past him to start playing the nose flute. But no, it genuinely played this over the Walmart radio, and I was fucking stun locked. Someone at front watching SpongeBob episodes and accidentally opened the PA system. Hey man, have you watched Band Geeks? This shit's fire. Oh yeah, chocolate with nuts. Hear this absolutely nuts beat, brother. Like, dude, it was in that moment that I knew I was in like a hell world, you know? Like, it was in that moment that I was like, okay, I need to like expedite my process of getting out of here because these people aren't normal, you know? Walmart is not normal. Or at least it shouldn't be. Because this is insane shit that you're feeding to me right now. I heard it one time, right? I heard this song once in the entire time I was there. Bear in mind, I was there for like a year, right? Give or take a couple months. I heard this song once, and then never again. Too weird even for the weird giraffe. Dude, I was like I said, I was fucking stun locked by that. I stopped what I was doing. And I was just like, what is this? You know? What is this? Because this like defies everything that I could personally tolerate. Speaking of things I can't tolerate.
You only heard it once. Are you sure? You didn't mistake it for another song?
Well, listen. Maybe I could have mistaken it with this. It's Weezer doing a fucking SpongeBob song. Have you ever wanted that? Listen, this is for sure going to be cut out of the YouTube version, but I just need to hear this real fast, okay? I need to hear the music of Weezer.
Living like I'm on the edge of surreality. But I know everything is gonna be cool.
Have you not heard the tales of Ocean Man, you silly giraffe?
Listen, I'm well versed in the tales of Ocean Man. I know that the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip, all right? But I would never ever be prepared for nose flute sample and Weezer on a SpongeBob soundtrack.
As long as you're here with me, we're gonna lighten up each other's load when bumps and curves come on the road. 'Cause we are all in it together, and that's forever. It's always summer in Bikini Bottom, even in December.
Ocean Man is Weezer. Weezer is SpongeBob.
No. No. Ocean Man is Ween. You're thinking of Ween, homunculus. Ween and Weezer are two things. Oh, yo. I look just like Sandy Cheeks.
We found our way through trial and error. It doesn't matter how
Yeah, you're thinking of Ween with Ocean Man. Ween made Ocean Man. Weezer made this.
long it takes.
That was the music of Ween. This is the music of Weezer.
Well, aren't you a whiner?
Love is the glue that holds us together, and that's forever.
I am not a weenie. Are you saying I belong at Weenie Hut Juniors, homunculus? Because honestly, with the way that you've been talking to me ever since we started,
Yeah, you
I
are.
gotta-
Go to Weenie Hut Jr.
really, I feel like that you need to be booking a trip over there yourself with how you've been talking to me ever since we started tonight. You need to be fucking put in your place, mister. Speaking of being put in your place, I think it's about time that we fucking begin with tonight's festivities. But first, let's run one ad, and then we'll get going with it, okay?
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
I'll be fucking sending you to Weenie Hut Juniors here before too long, homunculus.
Easy, so it'll provide constant, uninterrupted fun. Earthbound has so many comic elements to it that Nintendo doesn't want you to give up on the game and never see those funny scenes. Earthbound is the first RPG to be set in modern times. You save your progress by calling your dad over the telephone and refill your energy by eating pizza. Speaking of pizza, you can play the game with your left hand and eat pizza in the other, since the game can be controlled with the L button, which lets you talk and check, otherwise known as search, and the control pad to move. Prepare to visit several places: a clubhouse, arcade, burger shop, theater, Loch Ness Lake, dinosaur museum, hospital, drugstore, Stonehenge, a police station, library, a park, city hall, preschool, a bakery, laboratory, tents, caves, inns, a desert, a beach resort, grocery store, a snake shop, and Saturn Valley. Watch out for Master Belch. You may have smelled him before. Bottom line, the battles and the HP elements seem out of place, but the psychic experience points fit the Earthbound
I love how he
mold
says that
well.
so
The
ominously.
game is easy, but you should consider buying it just because it's really innovative. Earthbound is the first RPG set in modern times. The graphics are impressive artistically, but not technically. The humor makes the game interesting.
Hello. Welcome back. Actually, hold on. We need to wait for the fucking ad to finish up. That's the fun thing about these now. Now that I'm making them longer, now we need to kind of wait a bit more for them. They're a bit longer for them to circle back out. No, I think that you, and you know what? You too, Tom. You could fucking go to Weenie Hut Juniors as well. I hear that when you're there, you're among friends.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Welcome back to Raw. Let's go to a TV talk show as Danhausen. In full gear? Ah, come on. In the fucking black everything. Wow. We've seen AEW's Danhausen. Rather, we have AEW's Danhausen here with us today. You know, I'm fascinated by your wrestlers. Always traveling from town to town. Does it ever get lonely? It can. Our families stay behind, so we form kind of surrogate families and groups while we're on the road. Does love ever blossom between wrestlers? After all, fit, attractive people hanging out, things happen, am I right? I don't know about blossom, but things happen. I think people gravitate to who they can relate to. We wrestlers stand with other wrestlers. We wrestlers understand other wrestlers. So some of us may pair up. It's inevitable. But plenty of us have our own relationship issues. This is a highly educational interview. Make sure to watch AEW's Family on Dynamite. I mean, that was more substantial than what Abaddon gave, I can at least say that. Again, we're not going to be doing dark matches or rampage matches unless someone challenges us specifically. Because again, like, the gimmick is probably going to wear thin if we just work every single date we can. Not much longer, I hope. Here's your order of Palatine, Canada's signature side dish that eats like a meal. Signature? Who signed them? I hope it was Rob Ford. What? Let me know when you need more napkins. Enjoy. Shout out. I mean, I guess that would be vegetarian. Although maybe remove the gravy because, you know, that might be like a turkey byproduct. Well, actually, no. That should probably be okay. It's not meat, so there's that. All right. Go out. We gotta do the minigame. Where's Orange? Danhausen, just the player character we were waiting for. Today we're playing Where's Orange. Look at the picture, find the real Orange Cassidy, and call that goofy slacker out. Easy squeezy. Hey, ever notice freshly squeezed sounds like rest in peace? It does not.
Oh, pardon me.
What? Okay, Justin. Thank you. Thank you very much, man. Find Orange Cassidy. Player with the most points after 3 rounds wins. Use the left stick to move your cursor and X to make a guess. First player to find Orange earns points. When playing online, each player's score will be determined by how long it took to find him. Where are the competitive Where's Orange games? No way that... Huh? Dude, I clicked on him. What are you talking about? Dude, he's leading by 10 points now. Colorblind people anywhere. Unfortunately for you, I'm colorblind. Scott the Waz would hate this game. I fucking I was about to say, I fucking clicked on him. You saw that, chat, right? I fucking pressed it. No way. Dude, that's him. Right there. Okay, that one was actually a little hard. But that's more just kind of like someone brought like a goddamn... But no, dude. Dude, that was total bullshit. You saw that. I clicked on him and they were like, nope. No, that's not orange. That shit, dude, the Elite rigged that shit. Come on now. I know that Danhausen wins on being the Elite every single week, but you need to play fair. Okay? You need to actually, like, do the work, brother. You might have been off by, like, 1 pixel or something. I might have, yeah. Hockey Hall of Fame. The Hockey Hall of Fame was built in 1943, where 400 people have been inducted. Amazing. Yes, abducted. They've been abducted at the, Hockey Hall of Fame. Yes.
This bout is set for one fall.
Big thirst.
Making his way to the ring. He is
Oh wait, do we have a manager in this match?
evil.
Ah, dude. Dude, this is based. Wow.
And his opponent, he is a bastard.
Holy based pairing. Wow. They're all chanting for Rio instead of the guys in the ring. That's awesome. You're really feeling upwards with Dan Ozer? That's honestly great, yeah. Again, we cannot win our matches, but we can for sure win on being the Elite. God, dude, even in the games, Pac is fucking chiseled. Like, he's, like, noticeably more buff than everyone else here. He's kind of always been, like, that insanely chiseled. At least ever since I first, like, saw him in, like, WWE and stuff. Like, it's insane that he's been able to, like, maintain that. That seems like Ukes in general, TBH. I don't know, I mean, like, you're looking at Danhausen, and he honestly just kind of looks like an average dude with face paint. Yeah, he's a little bit toned, right? But it's nothing like, there's nothing mind-blowing. Meanwhile, you look at Pac. Dude, those pecs have, like, ripples on them. Pac's. Make Kane look more chiseled than SVR 2008 and whatnot. Well, like, at that point, like, they knew that you didn't want to watch Kane. So, like, they had to make it so that you would want to watch him. Like, Use was like, how can we make it so that people want to watch Kane? And then Vince walked up to him and was like, ah, you see his pecs? Make them tighter than ever, pal. And then they did that. And then look at the results. And it was because of that that SVR 2007 became the best SVR game of all time. Let's say, like, what, dude, what are you doing? Here. I'm gonna bring you over to this side here. Or maybe not. Okay, fine. We'll just go ahead and do the DDT. That's also fine. Oh yeah, that's right. I can curse, right? Yeah. No. Really? Dude, I have not been able to fucking get a curse off on anyone this whole time. They've either been duds or complete failures. Or maybe not, brother. What, you don't think that SVR07 is the best one? Well, what do you think is the best one? Greatest loser of all time, Gira. Remember that. Well, yeah. Dude, even the game's in on it. Even the game is... Even the game is in on the fucking thing. Even my curses are fucking shit in this. Hold on. I forgot the music. Spider-Man. I hate the reversal system being 2 separate buttons. It's funny you say that because that's how it is in this game too, because you have one reversal button for like strikes and another for grapples. Do you have a fucking finish? Just hit me with it. Listen, man, I'm not gonna... That's a rotten cherry on this game for me. Oh, well, that's a rotten cherry on this game for me. Have you ever played Fight Forever? Because I have. I mean, I'm playing it right now, so you know, there's that.
Hello, Mario.
Who goes there? You're Rey Mysterio. Bri, welcome to tonight's Lone Boy Club meeting. Hopefully you're doing alright this evening. Despite Danhausen and Rio by his side, Hackshell kicked that jabroni's ass. I hope he goes over to WWE and reconvenes with that CM Punk. You're injured, dude. The second injury of the whole thing. That's incredible. Hold on. I know that he's not appearing. Give me just a second. No, it is not quite Wednesday yet, so this would be like NXT day. Yeah, hello, Bri. Welcome to tonight's Lone Boy Club meeting. We need to go and get our shit checked. Hold on. It's a good thing I have money from all the losing we've been doing. Feels great. I feel like a gold... Wow, I feel great. Like I got a golden ticket. We're going 100 over the speed limit. What? Dude. Dude, Danhausen is a menace to society. Never ever let this man cook. Never let bro cook again. Like, who the heck is in here? Who the heck is going to challenge us? Oh, hey, Riho. 400. Wait, I thought we were going to 500. Were we? My bad. 500. Are you going to get that? Stop distracting me. Oh, but I got us a tag match at Dynamite if you're interested. You and me teaming up? Sure. Phone stops ringing. What the fuck? His losing is having dangerous consequences for society and civilization. It's his failed curses. Dude, it has like a butterfly effect, you know? They say when a Danhausen curse fails, a man commits vehicular manslaughter. Somewhere else, 500 miles away, someone commits vehicular manslaughter. Let's see here. Which seems to be the case whenever I'm playing fucking, God damn, like, what the heck is the game? American Truck Simulator. Because if I'm driving, like, 1,000 miles to fucking deliver something, there's almost always going to be just something that pops up to, like, change my route. At least 3 times. It's like, on the one hand, fuck yeah, because, like, you know, trucks are cool. But also, on the other hand, damn, being a truck driver is actually pretty shitty. It's actually a little shitty, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Anyways, we should probably go ahead and do a press conference. Louisville, Kentucky. A 3rd-year lawsuit asks, do you ever run into trouble on the road? I mostly run into sliding glass doors that open too slow, or are actually windows. Our final question from an Ursi student. Wrestling looks painful. How do you stay healthy? It's not the wrestling that hurts. It's the falling, being hit, and the wrestling that hurts. On behalf of the university, we thank Dan Houser for speaking with us today. Thank you so much. It's also all of the speedy tickets that I have. Let's fight until we start getting color, and you know... Fight until we start getting color, if you know what I mean. I know, I don't want to make anyone in the Long Boy Club bloody, if that's alright. I don't know how you... I know you don't have much of a choice, but you may want to pick your friends a little more carefully. You wanted a free dinner that bad, huh? Your ugly jumpsuit budget doesn't leave you much left for meals? I don't know why I'm bothering to warn you, but Riho isn't very trustworthy. What? And you are, Bucker? Ha, that's funny. You should put that on BTE. I tried to smarten you up, Danhausen, but if you show up to Dark, I'm gonna beat you up. Wait, is this on BTE? I don't see that Stooge Cutler anywhere. Wait. Oh no, we were challenged. We have to go to Dark. Alright, fine.
The following contest is set for one fall.
Dude, I was about to be fucking mad if, like, we friggin' did this and it turns out that our opponent was not Nick Jackson.
We should do our BT spin-off called BT LBC being the Long Boy Club.
You know what? I like that.
His opponent is one
Fucking put that shit on a t-shirt.
Jackson.
Dan Hoser 6, going dark.
Tomorrow always dies. So we gotta lose this match too, right, chat? Like I think that's part of the stipulation. Alright, well I'll make this quick then.
Danhausen will return? No, time to die.
To die. There's no time to die though. James Bond said so. No, fuck you. Dude. Dude, what is this like? Dude, what is this like reversal tech that Nick Jackson has? Yeah, I figured. Oh, Northern Lights. Oh. Dude, watch this. I'm gonna get injured again. Will there be Southern Lights? At a time when there's like Northeastern and Northwestern Lights first, because those are like, you know, the Lion King 1.5s of like Northern Lights, you know? Southern Lights are like the Lion King 2. In order to actually get to the Lion King 2, we need to get past Lion King 1.5 first. Northeastern Lights are Timon, and Northwestern Lights are Pumbaa. That's my headcanon. Canada! I changed the rules. This is now a better than Utopia match. It's going to change the rules mid-match with him being a founding father of AEW and all. I mean, listen, it's fucking Danhausen, you know? At this point, he should probably think that he doesn't have to change the rules. If he's been watching Danhausen's run up until this point, he should fucking know that he is the loseriest of losers. You know? He's only won one match, and that was against that fucking J-Bro CM Punk. You know? Listen, man, I said what I said. Oh, and you're booing fucking, Nick Jackson, I got it. And that baseball slide to the outside was pretty sick. I'll give him that. I will give him that much. Oh no. Oh, Super King, no one can believe it. No way. No way. 1, 2. No, I wanted that shit so bad, dude. It would have been so funny. Dude, that was 2.9.
1, 2, 3.
That was not meant to be, unfortunately. The elite. The elite. I went to see this match in theaters, chat. Not Danhausen and Nick Jackson. I mean, like, Bryan Danielson and MJF. I don't mean goddamn, the match we just worked. Thank you for joining us for this North of the Border edition of Dark. Wait, are we in Canada right now? Please, no injury. No injury, yeah! Okay, cool. We got enough of our energy back to make it through Dynamite. Let's do it. Who the heck are we facing?
The following
God
contest
damn it.
is a tag team match set for one fall.
Only one person in this match doesn't have face paint. And his name is Danhausen.
Their way to the ring. He is very nice.
This is an incredible tag team. Wow. I almost want to actually win this just from the goddamn look of this.
And their opponent.
Somebody quickly at Red... Somebody at Red Cold Ritsu real quick. If you don't get any more wins, you can get 199 like Glad's Joe. Oh no, that would be so cool though, wouldn't it? You know what? I'm more than fine with jobbing out goddamn Stink again. It's Stink. You fucking J-Brown. Dude, honestly, this tag team is pretty goated. Right here. Stink Allen. Dude, it is no... Dude, Stink Allen is no match for freaking... For freaking Rehausen. But no, someone please let Red Cold Ritsu know that this is fucking happening right now. This is an insane fucking pull here. Either that or Sting could get another pin on friggin' Danhausen. That could also be something that we end up doing. Ritsu's offline, it seems. Damn. He's gonna have to miss out on Peak, I suppose. So sad. Oh wow, we got the Meteora there? That's crazy. I almost don't want to interfere in this because I would like for Riho to get this win. This would be fun. But also at the same time, it would tarnish our 1 to like very large number win-loss record. Because so far we've only gotten 1 win this entire run, and that was against CM Punk. Which I would like to keep it that way because in my mind that is very funny. Hear me out, 3-way match, Sting, Darby, Danhausen, battle at the face painted wrestler. That'd be cool. Listen, if you're here by the time we're done with this and you remind me, I'll run that match. All right. Like, I won't play it, we'll just watch it. No, I mean, like, obviously, like, you can't promise that, but I'm just saying that if you're here at the end, then maybe we can do that.
1, 2.
Wait, where am I? Okay. Oh, wow, Riho showed big strength against Stink. Wait, no. Oh, is Riho gonna do it? Dude, Rio's gonna do it. She's gonna do it. No way.
1.
No way. I can't let that happen. I have a reputation to uphold. Come on, Stink.
1, 2.
Oh no, I can't break up my own pin. I cannot break up my partner's pin. So, like, if Riho wins this right here is just gonna have to be, like, she fucking takes one for the team. You know?
1.
Wait, no way. Okay. Dude, I'm not doing, hey! I'm not doing anything. I'm doing nothing, brother.
1, 2, 3.
Wow. That feels so disrespectful of Riho. Like, she literally comes in and she puts on this match. And it only takes like 3 moves to put her away. If she does it, I really hope it doesn't count as a win for you. I'd have to imagine it will. This ain't the W Riho's providing. What's the harm? The harm is that it fucks with my record. I have a record to uphold. It is 1 to whatever number we get at the end, okay? Tag chemistry can make a difference in tag team matches. Sting and Darby definitely have that here. Yeah, that right there is the harm. The harm is hopefully not getting injured. Thank you. We did not get injured. You got hurt out there, didn't? No, I didn't. Didn't show up on my thing. I finished the match. I'm okay. No, go to the trainer and get checked out. What are you, my mom? I'll be fine. Okay. Damn. You know what, Danhausen? She's just trying to look after you. She cares, you know? Mitcham Medical Center, Louisville, Kentucky. Knock on the door. Come in. Hey, patient 0. How's the rib? Not broken, just displaced. They were able to pop it back in. They're gonna keep an eye on me until morning. Good thing you got it checked out, huh? But no revealing hospital gown? Gotta say, I'm disappointed. Does Riho want the fucking Danhausen? Wow. The Danhausie? Rather, the Dan Hussy, as I'll call it. What do you mean by that, Riho? Riho was the Dan Hussy. That's crazy. I'm going to ignore you and instead focus on the food you apparently brought for us. And I'm going to try to make you laugh while I'm here, because I know that will hurt. What? I got injured anyways! What are you talking about? No, come on, man. I gotta get checked out again? This is bullshit. Feeling much better. I should be more careful. Danhausen doesn't give off Twunk or Twink vibes. No, he doesn't. He fucking gives off, like, vibes that are all his own, I feel like. He literally just gives off, like, Danhausen vibes, and that's really it, you know? Just go to the doctors to make sure there are no boo-boos. Oh, from Rio fucking Danhausen? I'm so hungry I could eat an eggplant. Here's your order of fried pickles. They originated in the South, but we like our state fair food in Minneapolis too. I love state fairs. I once wanted stuffed a giraffe. No way! By throwing a dart into a Cardi's eye. Dude, I should try that shit. I should try that shit in real life. Our vegan ranch is awesome too. Enjoy. No fucking way. Whether you're a carnivore, herbivore, or semi-4, nothing's tastier than fried pickles with a good vegenaise.
I was the stuffed giraffe. That's how I cursed Danhausen. Ara.
Patch, welcome on in. Did it, like, affect people's internal clocks? Rather, did it kind of, like, affect people's ability to show up? That, like, I started, like, at 9 instead of 10?
Hello, Mario.
I just finished Renee's session 0. Super excited for— Ow! I'm glad you are, Patch. Ow! I was wondering about that, TVH, because I know, because, like, here's the thing. My new job starts here pretty soon, you know?
Go back to the doctor and get your head checked.
Dude, I can't keep paying these goddamn medical bills, okay? I work in AEW. Do you think I get paid by the hour here? No. I have guaranteed contract, okay? They're gonna look at my head and they'll say, nope, you're still good to wrestle. There's a rumor going around that I got a little banged up in my Dynamite match last week. And for once, the rumor's true. But this is pro wrestling, not chess. Which is lucky for me, because I'm bad at chess. But I'm great at beating people up. That's not what your win-loss record says, dude. I want everyone here, and everyone hearing my voice, to tune to Dynamite. I promise to put on a show that's well worth your time. Alright, dude, well, we gotta fucking, we gotta make them work big style in this next match. He's great at beating people up, not winning. Two totally different things. Well, listen, we're gonna draw that line in the sand on Dynamite. It's time to find out who we am. It's time to find out who I am. So, Danhausen, you here to game with us BTE style? Oh no, we're friggin'... Wait, we're running back minigames now?
Let's start the party.
Okay, fine. I guess we're running back the minigame now. Oh wait, but is it like a harder version of the game that we played before? Yeah, it seems like that Yeah, because it seems like that the bombs are coming down faster than they were before. Dude, there's like no like... Ah! Fuck! Ah, that was real close. Wow. Okay. Collect the poker chips for the Casino Royale match. Dude, if I collect enough of them, I could just pretend that I won that match earlier. And that really is just as good as winning it, you know? Dude, most of the money that we get comes from these mini games, honestly. Danhausen's locker room, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah, I can work with this. If it isn't Captain Oblivious. Who, me? True, I have no idea why you're talking to me right now. But fortunately, I bet you're going to tell me. You've been hanging around Rio a lot lately. That ends as of right now. Understand? Oh, am I grounded too? Gonna take away my TV privileges? Get out of here with that mess, Cole. Yeah, I figured you wouldn't listen to reason. That's why I got a match against you tonight. Maybe you'll listen to violence. So you're using fabricated beef with me to get booked on Dynamite. And I'm great for you. An easy night for me. Okay, you can leave now. Beat you later. Dude, that's fucking big talk for the biggest loser on Dynamite. You know? Unless he's like trying to use reverse psychology and have him beat him quick, so that way he can go to the pay window early.
The following contest is set for one fall.
Again, we're not here to win, we're here to make other guys look good. And when it comes to that, Danhausen is the best.
He is very nice, very evil. Danhausen. And his opponent.
Oh, hey, it's the Chugs. Alright, let's actually try and, like, do something here with Adam Cole, then. Because if he's gonna talk that mad shit, then we need to give that back to him. Can Chugs chug a gallon of milk? He's gonna need to after I fucking beat his teeth in here tonight. Alright, here we go. Dude, I was trying to go to the turnbuckle. Taking that smack and he's only 0-1. Yeah, exactly. He's like talking the smack and he has like zero wins and 1 loss. Listen, I'm buffing up everybody's win-loss record here on Dynamite. I'll just say, can I put him on the rope here? Thank you. Yeah! Hello. Wow. Hell yeah. You know what? If we didn't already lose to Punk, Cole would be like the 1 in 1 and whatever amount of matches we've lost up until this point. Yeah, I know, that was some real fucking athleticism there from fucking Danhausen, wasn't it? You got the battle of the normal-sized men. Dude, what was like those splits there? That's crazy. I'm gonna make sure to get all my shit out on you, friggin' Adam Cole. You will get every move of Danhausen here tonight. Nope. Nope. Oh! Yakuza kick. Dude, no way. Am I about to put like Adam Cole in a losing position here? Why are you booing me? I'm right. I'm right to be fucking beating up Adam Cole like this. Did you not watch the backstage segment? Danhausen wants those Adam Cole feet. Those chugs plugs. The souls of Adam Cole. Cole souls, you could say. Oh! Brain buster on the knee. Come on, man, hit your shit. Ah, you couldn't hit the last shot. Oh no, I can't, dude. I can't capitalize because I'm disoriented. Oh, last shot. Oh, no way! No fucking shot! Wow! Oh, Hurricane Rana. Nice. Dude, right on his head? Holy shit! Come on, man, do your fucking shit on me. Oh, intercepted. Okay, you know what? Get over here. Get off the ropes. I have something I gotta do to you, brother. Don't just take a nap on the ropes. We gotta fucking do my spot here. No! No, I have to get my gimmick off. No. I'm trying to get my curse off here. I don't know if I could do it. No. No, 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 no. Dude, I literally can't do it. Oh! Dude, we're 100% going to need to get those fucking, like, shots in there in the back. All right, well, I think we took it to his limit at the very least. 2.5 stars. We kind of took him to his limit. That wasn't, like, a shitty showing, you know? At least I don't think it was. I don't think it was.
It's almost time for a 2.5-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Okay, well, you know what? I think now's a pretty good time to do that, honestly. Honestly, 2.5-minute Cheetos break sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and throw to that real fast.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this.
In Battletoads and Battlemaniacs by Tradewest, the Dark Queen and Silas Volkmeier
How long is
have
this one?
kidnapped
This one
Vince and
can't be
Princess
2.5
Machiko
minutes.
and are holding them captive in the mysterious world called Gamescape.
No, but it is 2 minutes.
The Battletoads, Pimple and Rash, crash their way
Roundabout.
into the Gamescape and tackle super pigs, flies, and rats in order to rescue their friends. Although this game is very similar to the NES original, pro players will still find enough challenge, fun, and uniqueness to want the game anyway. The graphics,
Street.
character animation, and big characters deliver hot action. The bonus
Hot
level is so cool
action.
because you will feel like you're ice skating and bumper carring. This 8-stage game is not as long as the NES version, but is just as hard. The new turbo tunnel is difficult, so remember to keep pressing the jump button if you fall into one of the pits, because you'll be sprung out of the pit if a small platform appears. Battletoads for the Super NES has a code that gives you 5 lives and 5 continues. During the introduction, press and hold down, B, and A until the Battlemaniacs logo appears, and then press start. The flag will flash red if you entered the code correctly. This same code will give you 5 lives if you use it on the NES game. Battletoads and Battlemaniacs is practically perfection, combining movie-like cinematic qualities with a great variety of action. True video game fans will appreciate the maintenance of high fun throughout and the unbeatable challenge, which can only be conquered with excessive practice. Battletoads and Battlemaniacs offers extremely high challenge even with 5 continues, resulting in a game that's hard to beat.
Hard to beat. There's something about the cadence of that one in particular where it just sounds like he is reading from the sheet more than any other time. You know? Like, I could just imagine him just sitting there, hand in front of face, right? Spectacles, yes. A little bit off the bridge of the nose, eyes squinting. And he's like reading off the fucking sheet into the mic, and he's like, all right, done. Tom Allen, we're fucking done here.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Dynamite. So what I'm gonna do, Adam Cole wins a surprisingly vicious match. What's between Cole and Danhausen? What indeed? Alright, where's my check? Sorry, Danhausen, I don't know why Cole's after you. It's fine.
I ate
Some people
Gyra.
just wanna cause
I
trouble.
own the chair now.
Yeah, I know what you... What the... Maybe delete my number, okay? What? Weren't these two good friends? Why would Rio commit such a horrible act? No! Are you kidding me? Dude, I shouldn't have listened to Red Cold Ritsu. How did we not get injured during that match? I feel like we took so much shit in it. I ate Gyra. I own the chair now. Oh, hey, hold on. What the? Huh? Consider that a preview of what's gonna happen at Revolution. No fans, friends, or family are going to help you against me and Riho. Wait, dude, why do I keep getting injured? Are you kidding me? Dude, I feel personally slighted. I'm gonna win this match now. I feel slighted. No wonder Danhausen is a glow. He gets injured constantly. Dude, no kidding. Dude, CM Punk is the 1 in 1 in 14 right now. Alright, we're gonna go to a restaurant here. What the hell is here? Wesley's Headbutt in Chicago. Here's your Chicago deep dish. Wait, is this just for you? No friends to help you eat it. Wait, you can't see my friends? What's wrong with you? Yeah, Carmel the purple giraffe. Hello? Hello, didn't we already fucking establish this? Get in my belly! Dude, we fucking already established that. Carmel the purple giraffe is gonna help me do this. Come here is the first thing I do when I hit Chicago too. Best pizza in the world. Hobbs, do me a solid, man. We need to reform Dan Hobson. I have some fucking people that I need to take out. We got some ops, you could say, that needs to be taken out. Yeah, it's great. Hey Hobbs, you ever get lonely on the road? Nah, I get comfortable being alone early in life. Basically out of necessity. I'm glad Team Taz has my back though. And the whole faction member thing didn't work out too well for me. So I'm just a wrestler, eating pizza alone. There are worse things to be, Danhausen. There are worse things to be. I'm out. Dan has a point. You ever get lonely on the road? He says, pulling out a fresh one. Chuck Taylor! Pro Baseball Stadium in Chicago, Illinois. Baseball is an interesting sport. It's a team game, but you're also taking turns individually. When you go to bat, you do so with the support of your team. You want to succeed for them, too. True, but it almost seems like individual competition with additional pressure. With best friends, I sense a lot more support than pressure. That's what makes me such a lucky man. Should we take a picture? No pressure. You ever get lonely on the road, Danhausen? Pulls out a fresh one. I could fix that shit for you. All right. Sheeta's Slugfest. So, Danhausen, you here to game with us? Today's game is Sheeta's Slugfest. We'll see if you can swing a bat as well as you flap your gums. I'm gonna be the MVP when I score the winning run. I put a big hurt on you guys in this baseball simulator. What?
Let's see what you got.
What does the first one entail, dare I ask? Condom. Anyways, hit. Let's play ball, AEW style. Hit the incoming wrestler to score runs for your team. Earn a bonus roulette by hitting a home run. Use R to swing and pitch. When not at bat, rotate the stick to boost your teammates' power. For the incoming wrestler, score runs for your team. Yeah, that's what it means. Oh, so I get like two different bats here. May as well just use the regular baseball stick.
Let's see what you got.
It's like I just flick the stick in any direction then. Okay. Oh boy, this one's actually gonna be a little hard. Wait, what? What the fuck is this? I'm sorry? Dude, this is an insane minigame. What? Wow. Bro, they're dead. They're fucking dead. He just scored us 10 points. That's based. In this mini game, you fucking killed the Jackson brothers. Well, Kenny didn't need my help, I feel like. AEW kills the stadium. AEW fucking kills everyone in this fucking stadium. Nah, he got a home run there. Literally the same place that his brother died, I died. Dude, just like that, they catch up. This is bullshit. This right here is CTE Simulator. No! Are you kidding me? caught up, dude. 7. And they still have a whole other turn left. Dude, we have to fucking get this.
Strike.
Choked. Dude, I fucking choked that already. We already lost it. No way! No way! No way! Dude, we just might clutch this. Holy shit. If I can get another home run, we just might clutch this. Holy shit! No way! Dude, I'm killing the Jackson brothers in real time. Dude, we just might clutch this. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Dude, I got more points than Kenny did. No. Kenny's dead. They really did kill Kenny. Oh, this is a nail biter. Oh, no way! No points! No points! Holy shit! Come on! Come on! Come on! No way! No. Please. No way! Wow! Dude, we fucking clutched that. That was insane. Oh my god. That could not have gone any better, honestly. After that initial choke, that could not have gone any better. Wow.
It's Sunday night, and you know what that means.
Because he wins at mini games and never actual matches with stakes. Exactly. Dude,
They say that
he...
the easiest ship to sink is friendship. And one of our featured matches proves just that.
Will Revolution provide resolution for these three?
You know what? After a clutch win like that, I actually want to try in this match, chat. I'm gonna fucking try in this match if that's okay with everyone.
The following contest is a tag team match set for one fall.
It's not a tag team match. This is very much a handicap match.
Making his way to the ring, he is very nice, very evil, Danhausen. And his opponents, Adam Cole.
That is the funniest shit of all time.
And his tag team partner, Riho.
It's his friends from the restaurant. That's his tag team partner. Oh yeah, that's right. I got Carmel the purple giraffe in my corner. And really, when I have that, what do you need? You know? What else do you fucking need when you have that? That was the most insane clutch of all time. Wow.
For life.
Pulper CJ, thank you very much. Dude, after a clutch like that, I'll consider that a reward for that fucking clutch that I just had. Welcome on in, man. You're a member of the Long Boy Club for life. Did you see the baseball thing that we just did? Did you see the baseball mini game that we did? That shit was insane. That shit was insane. I did. Yes, thank you. Dude, I was literally like, if I can get another home run, we just might clutch this. That was an insane moment. Wow. I fucking clipped that. Rather, I fucking bookmarked that for later. I am fueled by the fury of winning in baseball to win this match. We've been losing every single match up until this point with the exception of one for shits and giggles. Because it is against a wrestler I don't much care for anymore. But after a clutch like that, I think we've earned 2 wins. Alright? After a clutch like that, we've earned 2 wins. You may be wondering why I'm not tagging in Carmel the Purple Giraffe. Tom Street. It's because they're outside providing moral support. It's because they're on the outside providing moral support, you know? Alright. Will the curse work? Ah, your cheerleader, exactly. Yeah! They are the 2. They are now number 2 in 2 and 14. After being betrayed by Riho and attacked by Cole, Danhausen kills 2 birds with 1 stone. We may never know the source of their issues, but hopefully the drama has concluded. Because I wanted to just go to WWE for God's sakes. All I did was invite Riho to dinner. Then I'm being smashed into screens and put through tables. You two are a perfect pair of jackasses. I'm happy to cash out and leave your little games behind. But I'm sure you'll both live happily never after. Goodbye and good riddance. Danhausen gets the last word in this tale of betrayal and jealousy. Now AEW moves on to Double or Nothing. Wait, that was the main event? Dude, Danhausen is fucking gold. He's money here. Wow. Man, people would be so pissed off if this was IRL, but dude, I'm pissed off too. You know? Because I don't know, like, what the source of this was. I don't know why Riho ended up betraying me. Like, what was the point of this? You know? Like, we don't know. Oh my god, we're doing this again? Okay, well, listen. I feel like this is the perfect story for the Gloat. You know? Like, someone in the back is just fucking with him, and this is the final story. Did the fans forget to come to my speech, or did I forget to stay home? The last speaker said nobody else was coming, so we cleared out all the spectators. I had an epic story about me and Carmel that I wanted to tell. Who was the last? Yeah, I mean, like, didn't you see the moral support that Carmel was doing on the outside? That shit was goated, you know? Like, she was out there, you know, Gene up the fans, handing out the Danhausen, like, face paint and stuff. Making caramel lattes. Like, that shit was goated. And they didn't want me to talk about it? The main event of a pay-per-view, no less. Listen, again, if Ritsu was here, he'd have no issue with that because it has Riho and Danhausen in it. Which are, like, 2 of his, like, favorite wrestlers, so. It was some big guy. The fans didn't seem to care for him. I don't personally care for him either. And he must not care for me. But I do care for bears. Chat, I also care for bears, honestly. I also enjoy myself some bears. Alright, let's go dining here. Restaurant in New York. Warrior needs food belly.
It was some big guy. Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Listen, when you look at AEW, the qualifications for big guy are different, you know? Because when you look at AEW compared to WWE, the average AEW guy is smaller than the average WWE guy, you know?
Hello, Mario.
I'm feeling a little down tonight. My grandma doesn't seem to be doing well, and I'm becoming worried about international relations at the moment. Listen, man, we all are. But the best that we can do is, you know, organize, speak out, call the people that represent you. Like, genuinely. You know? It's amazing what people can accomplish when they have a goal and a vision. I'm very happy with the end result. Get in my belly! What is... There are a few maladies a person can suffer that can't be cured by a good bowl of matzo ball soup. The statement is not FDA approved. Cool. But no, literally, like, call your reps, you know? And don't stop calling them. Like, literally what I'm doing right now is I call them, like, late at night because I don't want to, like, actually talk to them. So, like, I leave a voicemail, you know? And that's what I've been doing every night for the past few nights. That's what I recommend doing. Anyways, Statue of Liberty, Manhattan, New York. It's... Wait, give me your tired... Give me your tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
There is no war in
It's
BA
Christian.
Sing SC.
It's a nice sentiment, but Canada has much fresher air to breathe. Just saying. Sure, if you consider maple syrup fresh. What? I asked if you consider taking a selfie with me. Yeah, that's it. If you got 5 seconds, that is.
Bossing
Oh, I get
say.
it. 5-second pose. And bossing say, hey! Hey, you got it. Oh, and they did the pose too. The 5-second pose. That's cool. That's very cute. That's very cute and very cool. Let's see here. And once we do our pre-match stuff, we're gonna go ahead and take an ad break. How is Dan's dad? What, Danhausen's dad? Dan dad. Probably imaginary, like Carmel the giraffe. And we're gonna go and play a mini game again. Again, oh no, it's fucking Box Breaker. I'm cooked, dude. We're going to play Box Breaker. You'll break boxes with punches and kicks. Try and score the most points. Whoever, yeah, you had me at break boxes. Let's do this.
I'm expecting this to be a good match.
This is not a, well, you're gonna be disappointed because this is not a match, Justin. This is in fact fucking Box Breaker. You break the boxes to earn points. And the player with the most points wins, Justin. You attack boxes by pressing square for a quick attack or holding square for a powerful attack. Numbers on boxes, Justin, show how long until they break. Points are only awarded, Justin, to the player who lands the first hit. What's Box Breaker doing at the Elite? You've heard of the vision. Now it's time for the smell. It's now time for the smelling. You know what? I'm cashing out on these ones right here. Nice. Dude, look at these stupid CPUs. There's no way I can lose this shit now. Hell yeah, man. Look at Danhausen. He's on a roll. He's good at baseball. He's good at beating people up. He's good at breaking boxes. The only thing that he needs to be good at now is actually winning matches consistently. Because the only time he can win a match is if he plays baseball before him. Any other time and it's just fucking over. It's fucking GG after that. You know? Anytime after that, it's fucking done. Study done saying that the most games played on PlayStation and Xbox in 2025, same as 2024, those being Fortnite. So basically just like games with longer tails. That is not at all surprising. Because, you know, all those games have had years, some of them decades, to build up, you know, long-lasting recurrent fan bases. Most of them are live service games. Yeah, but like I said, those are games with like longer tails, you know? Games that are recurrently updated. Not necessarily live service games, but ones that are either like recurrently updated or ones that caught on really big and the community just continues to like support them en masse, you know? And Roblox is kind of interesting to say because Roblox is really just a game engine for the most part, you know? A lot of games catch on that were made in Roblox, you know? I don't really want to do like another match. But listen, if we're just on Dark, right? If we're just on Dark and we're leaving it at that, it's gotta be goddamn Scorpio Sky again. Fuck.
Making his way to the ring, he is
I am done fighting this man, man. I am done fighting goddamn Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky.
You know what, Sky? You know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna do this, alright? No! Wait, can I like look under the ring? One! Come on, I'm trying to look under the ring. Go to the stage, make a pipe bomb promo. You know what? I could be in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor. Maybe, in fact, I'll go to WWE. Hi, Ethan Page. How you doing? Is that it? Wait. Wait, is he not going to disqualify me? No way! Okay. Well, this makes things even better. Hold on. Dude, there's no way I'm stopping there. There's no way I'm stopping there. Hold on. Expecting those fans self-inserts to actually be work on the show staff for the fourth season? Absolutely. At this point, I don't think that there's any doubt. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that the whole like interconnected thing with like, you know, like all the Smiley Friend self-inserts is something that's either made by or like endorsed by the show staff, or at least like worked on partially by the show staff. Dude, can I just like fucking beat him up with weapons with impunity? No way. My world. No way. Dude, that's insane. Please. I want another. Yeah, baby. Holy shit. All about this. Options. Wait. I don't think that you can. Dude, I'm checking the match rules. I'm not seeing anything about like turning off the goddamn about this specifically being like a no DQ match. Wait, were they all like that? And I just never noticed? Dude, no way. Dude, that's awesome. That's actually so wait, no, okay, never mind. So wait, the fucking champagne bottle, the nailed bat, and the hockey stick were too much. But a crowbar? No, dude. No way. That shit doesn't work for me, brother. What was the difference between the other three? At that performance stats, you think Danhausen has been buying new skills? Leveling up? No, I've been getting fucking weapons underneath, dude. Look, you can't reference Half-Life. That caused copyrighted. Shh, you want to get sued? That's literally what Rick Knox said to me before DQing me. He's like, fuck, dude, you want to get sued? Maybe I'll go to NXT. Hey, Ethan Page, how you doing? You know what? I think I'll run the ad now and go and take a poo break real fast.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Imagine a skateboard without wheels and used as a single ski board. That's the concept behind Cool Borders. The graphics look great in still frames, but they're a disappointment in real time. Also disappointing is the play control. The high speed and challenge of the game make it difficult to navigate the courses, even with the hard turn button. Jumping is also awkward. It feels delayed or held back. As in many other games of this type, you can perform tricks to earn points, but that's kind of pointless. No pun intended. The main goal is not simply surviving the levels, but beating a certain time set previously by a fictional player. This takes away from just being able to have fun, and that announcer, ugh, somebody shoot that dweeb. He's one of those guys with slow motion syntax and overdrawn emotions, saying things like, way cool, man, totally rockin', man, whoa, I thought you were history, and are you tripping out or what? Sometimes you wish the goal of the game were to hunt that wiener down and kill him.
So one of my roommates is occupying the bathroom, chat. I'm literally shit out of luck right now. I am quite literally shit out of luck. So I'm just gonna need to wait on that, unfortunately. So we'll get back to the festivities here once this shit is back. so poorly received, some fans have convinced themselves the secret final episode of the series is coming to tie up every loose end that'll make everything that preceded it not so terrible. Okay, so like here's my thing, right? I've not seen any of Stranger Things. I've not seen any of Stranger Things, so maybe I dodged the bullet? I don't know. Because with such like ginormous
Nom nom.
series.
Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Because you know like what other ginormous series ended poorly? Game of Thrones. And now people like look on Game of Thrones with like much less reverence as they did in the past. A big guy is messing with me. I only have time to ask one person about before my match against MJF tonight. How about you, Wardlow? Paging Mr. Mayhem. Mr. Mayhem, you have a telephone call at the front desk. Okay. Are you the Ripper trying to keep me from working out and telling hilarious stories about Carmel the purple giraffe? No, I didn't. But that's hilarious. Kudos whoever thought of it. Wasn't me, because I literally never think of you. How? How? You beat me like twice already, and I probably lost more matches than anyone else on Dynamite. So, now get out of here. My warm-up will include tearing you up. Well, alright.
The following contest
Dude, what the
is
fuck?
for one fall.
Go to the back, Wardlow.
Making his way to the ring.
This actually reminds me of the last time that Sherlock fans were disappointed that show ended. They're convinced that a completely unrelated show, Apple Tree Yard, is actually a secret final episode of Sherlock.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman and JF.
Well, I think a little bit about how, like, Game of Thrones also ended, you know, the way it did, because the writers were, like, really convinced, or, like, the writers were, like, really, preoccupied with just, subverting viewers' like expectations, and they were so preoccupied with that they forgot to make the ending good. Again, like Game of Thrones was happening before I was really into that sort of stuff, so like I don't really know much about it other than Peter Dinklage is a small man, and he is very small compared to everybody else. But that's just Peter Dinklage in general. You know? He's taller than you. You fucking put a sock in that, you. Ain't no fucking way he is. Not the abdominal stretch. Dude, if this shit taps him out, I was about to say. Firstly, blame Ryan Johnson for making the whole subverting expectations trope so popular on current media. I don't really... I don't know, because like Game of Thrones finale came after Ryan Johnson did... I don't even know, like what movie was it? The Last Jedi? Like when did Game of Thrones end? When did it end? Did it end like at the end of the 2010s? I don't know, just like when I think of like again, like when I think of like just kind of series that were like they had like really strong fan bases and then they didn't.
Hello, Mario.
A lot of it comes down to them having, you know, like really shitty final seasons. And it's just because like they didn't have a strong enough payoff, or they just completely just like flew in the face of like what was previously established. I feel like with something as big as Stranger Things, it was always going to struggle to have that kind of like really good payoff too. Because like you also need to understand this. Stranger Things was like ginormous, you know? Hey Soul, how are you doing? I'm trying to say subverting expectations usually makes no one happy. No, I mean like I get what you're saying. It's fun to subvert expectations, but you need to like do two things. One, they need to make sense. And two, they need to be better than what the audience was expecting. And that second one can be kind of hard to really judge because you don't always know what your fans are expecting, you know? That's why a lot of people didn't really like the fact that Cena lost his final match, you know? At least that's part of why they didn't like it. Wait, hold on. Was MJF's move a goddamn side headlock takedown? Yes, it was. Hell yeah, dude. I love it. It's probably better than... It's probably when you don't wait 86 years between each season. Yeah, probably. Only now is that finisher out of date. Thank you, Bandita. You also have the Soul of the Earth armbar. You have the Heat Seeker. Let's see here. Rope stunned opponent. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's it. We now have 2 wins, Soul. It ended in 2018, I think. Okay, so like, I don't know if like... I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about The Last Jedi because, you know, that conversation is just so exhausting to me, you know? How'd you get wins
Hello,
in the
Mario.
Gloat Run? Iron Sides, hello, welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. So, the first win, you saw it, we beat Punk, but then we went on, they finally adapt the whole Cake arc in Netflix's One Piece. Even then, the One Piece manga itself will probably still be ongoing. Isn't One Piece ending, though? But no, I don't really... I feel sorry for Danhausen always losing. Don't, man. He's getting that paycheck. He knew what he signed up for. We put that clause in his fucking contract that he has to lose. No, it's ending being weekly. At least the anime. Oh, okay. Danhausen, why are you here? I'm supposed to be a guest today. Sorry I'm late. You guys never sent a car to pick me up. Just because your manager said you were canceling. We had to scramble for a replacement. I don't have a manager. You mean someone from AEW? All I know is someone with a thick accent said they were your manager. You couldn't make it. Well, great. I'm guessing craft service is out too. Hey Danhausen, why are you such a mark? People think One Piece is ending, but the manga may have a couple years left at least. I'm surprised that My Hero Academia was conceptualized, aired, and concluded before One Piece ended. You know? I mean, there might be, like, sequel series in, you know, the My Hero canon. But, yeah. Answer me one thing. Does Ochako get to do something? Because after the first season or two, she gets...
Will you be watching WWE Unreal Season 2? The One
No.
Piece will never end. The voyage will never end.
Mr. Bones' wild ride never ends, brother. The creators said there won't be a pirate with an eye patch until the end is near, and one popped up a little bit ago, so hypothetical end is in sight. Whenever I think of One Piece ending, I think of, like, Billy from Billy and Mandy writing his memoirs, and he's like, it's taken me 22 years, but I finally finished. And he's like old and wrinkly, and he's like, and he has like fucking like He has like Parkinson's. It's so funny. I heard it was about halfway done in 2011, I think. Well, it's 2026. Maybe it'll be done by the end of the decade. Which is crazy to think because, like, okay. I'm muting this just for my own sake, so that way I can talk a little better. I can't believe we're in the latter half of the 2020s. This decade just has felt like a whole Black Mirror episode. You know, it doesn't even feel like it happened. You know, it just feels like that we've been living in the torture nexus. You know, for like the past 5 years. And it just feels like that it's like swallowed up everything surrounding it, including our perception of time itself. You know? Like, it's 2026. I'm on the back end of my 20s now. And I realize that, you know, a lot of people in my audience lean on the older side, so you're probably laughing at me when I say that, but it's true. I'm officially not getting any younger. I'm officially not getting any younger, chat. You know? Yet there are longer running manga anime than One Piece still going, like just the entirety of Dragon Ball. You know? Like Dragon Ball's been going ever since what, like the 80s? I think?
The 1920s were known as the Roaring Twenties. The 2020s will be the Second Great Depression.
Someone that I watch on TikTok coined it pretty well. Right now, we're kind of living in what I like to consider the regressive 20s. Where like a lot of progressive movements are trying to take hold. But there are remnants of the old guard still around, and they are very entitled and very gatekeepy and very traditionalist, you could say. They're trying to keep those movements from taking hold. Ruthless regression is incredible. You think you got that ruthless regression? Listen, man, I'm queer. I have a fursuit. I have avocado on my toast. What do you have that I don't? Ruthless regression. My manager. What do they sound like? I also have 2 cats. What do you have that I don't? Very low. Fuck it, we're sightseeing, I guess. Goddamn ruthless regression is crazy. I love that, honestly. Ruthless giraffe aggression. Start spitting on opponents like crazy. Here, have my 5 fucking diseases, brother. You'll love them. Danhouse, is it true you were talking with Vince McMahon right before we were gonna unionize? He's fucking afraid that other people are gonna crack the code like he has on just losing all your fucking matches. He doesn't want that. Hey, hold on. Let's go ahead and let's just go back again. If that's true, you're a piece of shit, Hogan. I mean, Housen. If that's true, you're a piece of shit, Housen. Danhausen then dropping the worst smoke bomb ever, then running. Enjoy famous wrestling person. Pittsburgh salad. Pittsburgh looked at candidates Palpatine and said, what if that, but on a salad? And defying all logic, it works. Warm salad for the win. Dude, if that salad is warm, I'm having them take it back. All right. Hey, boss, can I have a pizza, please? Hey, can I have a pizza? Hey, anyone got a pizza? It's fucking like CJ from San Andreas. All right, let's go ahead and lose by DQ again.
The following
Okay, good.
contest is set for one fall.
I was scared that we were gonna have to face Scorpio fucking Sky again, dude. I could not take that.
Making his way to the ring, he is very nice, very evil, Danhausen.
Do we need to DQ this jabroni badoni? Yeah, we need to DQ ourselves. Oh wow, we actually have like a different camera cut for friggin' John Silver? Bro is 0-2. Yeah, we need to give him his first win, dude. Danhausen is here to do just that. He's here to put everyone else over. Like so. Abdominal fucking stretch. I thought my last comment was filthy, frankly. No one gives a shit about your robot fan fiction, man. Sorry. Holy shit! And with a move like that, how could you not put over Johnny Hungy? Dude was so good, he did again. Wow. Dude, if I saw like someone smaller than me doing that shit, I'm belting him immediately, frankly. Although if he wrestled like how he is now with just the fucking elbow drops to the face, I might think twice. All right, hold on. We're gonna get DQ'd. No, 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 I'm gonna give you the win. Hey. The freaking jet, baby. You know what? Again, I love how everyone has like different lines whenever something happens in this game. That is a level of effort that I would not really anticipate from you know, this game here. Hold on, let me see here. I want to put on some fight music. What do I have here? Okay, I can bail out at least. Is it weird that I can still see like animations from like the SmackDown vs. Raw games in this? Or at least like animations that look almost one-to-one? Like how they do in the SVR games? Oh no. Yeah, we need to give him his first win, Ironside. That's how this shit works out. Johnny Hungy, come on, you gotta, ow! Come on, you gotta belt him, chat. If I saw that guy, I'm belting him immediately. Nobody's gonna be watching. Dude, come on. Are you kidding me? Danhausen and John Silver, this is a fucking... It's a hot match here. Come on, bud. Take my football. No way. Dude, that's insane. Dude, the ref does not give a shit about this. I'm pretty sure there's a certain amount like of weapon shots you can get away with before the ref DQs you. Yeah, like there's certain like shots that you can get away with, or at least there's a certain amount of shots you can get away with before the ref DQs you. Yeah, I remember the tables in this game being a piece of shit. Why does this ref hate John Silver? Dude, I don't know. I'm over here like breaking his fucking ribcage and stuff, and the ref's not doing anything about it. I could also just get counted out. Wait, what is that? Is that a shoe? No, that's a shoe, dude. Ooh! Ow! Dude! Oh my god, a super kick! Dude! Ouch! Ow, 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 ow. The shoe housing. You know what? You can have this match. I'm going to catering. I don't really want to get injured before my match, dude. So you can go ahead and you can just take this win. Get back in the ring and fight. No. No. I gotta save my strength for Dynamite, dude. Did you see Johnny Hungy's record? It's 0-2. I want to put him over, but I don't want to put him over that strong, you know? He hasn't earned it yet. Get in there. He's freaking... Why get in there? He's freaking jacked, baby. Exactly. He said... Dude, he said it himself. He doesn't even need to say it. Like, literally, like, John Silver is built like a brick. Like, he's the bulkiest little man of all time. I miss him. I miss him very much. Yeah, John Silver intimidated me. That's why I didn't want to fucking get back in the ring there. Two and 17, brother. He's just too freaking jacked, baby. In fucking parentheses. Now someone with a sick accent is ribbing me. It may bite me in the butt, but I need to see what I can find out before my match with Moxley. Eddie Kingston. Hopefully the Mad King is in a good mood. I have a secret admirer, but instead of love notes, I get canceled appearances and lettuce. If it's you, please stop. I wouldn't rib you, kid. I come up and knock your teeth out and tell you why while you pick them up off the ground. So bug off. Okay then. Let's return some videotapes. Okay, so I asked nicely. That means that he's not going to be in the match, right?
This is
Oh,
a
fuck
three-way
off.
match set for one fall.
That last part seems true about Danhausen. What about him being jacked, baby?
Making his way to the ring.
Look at him, he's freaking jacked, baby.
Evil Danhausen.
To be fair, he does look pretty toned in this game.
And his opponent, Eddie Kingston.
He seems like he's got some work done, you know?
Next,
About him returning tapes. Yeah, he's been studying the CCW shit with Kingston. He's got those CCW and Chikara tapes. Okay, you know what? They got this really good, like, crab cake dish and catering. I'm gonna go and have that. You guys can do whatever it is you're doing right there. I'm gonna go and fucking do that. How does everyone have a losing record? Like everyone, LMAO, because... Wait, no way. Okay, well, in that moment, I actually was able to do my fucking curse. It didn't affect anyone, though. Literally every single time that I have done this curse, it is either failed or has not done anything. Now, everyone has a losing record because I fought everyone in this game like once already. The game doesn't reflect their real life win-loss records. It reflects how many times they've beaten or lost to you. Jesus Christ! Wait, did someone get bloody in the ring? Hey, hold on, this match is peak. I'm actually gonna go and watch it. I'm actually gonna go and watch this shit. You know what? I'm rooting for Eddie Kingston, chat. As much as I love Danhausen, he should not be in a Kingston-Moxley match. LMAO. I'm rooting for Eddie Kingston. In fact, you know what? Hey, hold on. Kingston, I know we've had our differences in the past, but I feel like you and I can help each other out, dude. I feel like you and I can help each other out. Yeah. See? You're clapping. I'm leaving the ring. You and I are on the same page. This one's yours, brother. Ah, that was some bullshit. Here, Eddie, let me help you out, man. Let me help you out, Kingston. Ow! No. Kingston. Come on, man. You got to get with the program here. Dude, you can't just stand in the way like that, okay? I'm trying to help you out here, but you're just not getting with the fucking program. And there's not much I can do when that's the case, you know? No!
1, 2.
Ugh. I'm rooting for Eddie Kingston, dude. Oh, no. Yes! Eddie! Come on! Oh, he fell on the table. Let's go. 1, 2. No way. There was no way you were going to get him with that. Hey! Yeah, that's right. Use your shit on me. Actually, no, don't use it on me. I have a match later. Ow! No! Hey! Stop! Okay, you know what? I'm bailing. I'm bailing out of this match. You guys can fucking do whatever you want, okay? I'm done with this shit.
1, 2.
After a big move like that, I would be insane not to try and help, you know? You! Take that. Ow! No! No! Ah! Come on, that's it. Dude, do the double team. Come on, that's it. Ah, okay, well, you know what? I know what's gonna really get him. Bam. Very nice, very violent Danhausen. No! Kingston, please. Please. I'm not the one you want, brother. Get him. Get him. You have a finish. Get him. No. Come on, Kingston. Come on. Kingston. Dude, you are just not getting with the program here. Ow! I really don't know what to tell you, man. You're just not getting with this shit.
2.
And now I have CTE because you just don't understand what I'm trying to say to you. You know? You do not get it. All right, hold on. Fine, I'm gonna search under the ring. Whatever comes out is what comes out, you know? Fuck you both. You know? That's a good idea, man. Double team. Double team, quick. No! No! Wait, Kingston. I'll sop him up for you, bud. There you go. Yeah, man. Clap. That right there's the good shit. You know that. Get him. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I like to think that Miku and Sonic are just siblings, you know? Miku has disowned their current parents, or like their former parents. I mean, there's plenty of like skits like online ever since in the wake of like Miku coming to Sonic Racing. Of like Sonic and Miku having like a sibling dynamic, which is fun. I like that a lot. I'm glad I could help him get that win, dude. I'm glad I could help him get that win. Why is Zati like Danhausen won here? Somewhere in Georgia. Man, I hope this works. No signal. I knew I should have brought my carrier pigeon on this trip. Sabotage or bad luck. I'm walking. Yes, indeed. Oh, we're going straight to Dynamite, dude. Alright, so this one... I'm sorry to close the record on 3 and 18 here. Cody Rhodes puts over Danhausen. Miku blasts one of Eggman's giant mechs with her Miku beam. What is Miku's weapons? Freaking wrestlers. Danhausen, where have you been? I had car troubles and no reception. Someone has been... Never mind. Show's almost over. You missed your scheduled match. Only one other person is ready to wrestle. Paul White. Ugh. After the commercial break is over, we only have 3 minutes left. If you can't beat him by the time we go off the air, it'll count as a loss on your record. Get out there and wrestle. A leak and her Miku beam. Wait, is White still with AEW? Yes, but he's like a... He's like a company ambassador, really.
Making his way to the ring. He is very nice.
I'm pretty sure that if you beat Paul White here, you unlock him in the game. So, I'm actually going to try and do something here.
No more BS. Paul White.
That feels a little shit that, like, right off the bat. Yeah. Yeah, Paul White is still in the company. It's just that he obviously has a minimized role. Oh, no way! Dude, we got the chain wrestling going on here. Yeah, I know how you're like, Paul. You don't really like the grabs. It's fine. Could you see Mick Foley join the company? I can see that. Why not? Dude. I might just need to, like, take the count out here. At least, like, try to get the count out win here. Dude, really? Real grabs here in this match, dude. Wait. Curse! Really? No way. I feel like the only way that you could do this is if you get like a character that is like power oriented, you know? Like if you don't have like a character that's like strong from the get-go, you're not going to be able to beat them. Yet anyone else, this might be possible, lol. Chad, are you okay with me, like, closing out the game and trying that shit again? Because I think that we could do it if I just knock the difficulty down to easy. But if I knock it down to easy and I still can't do it, then we'll just move on, alright? Go ahead. I just think it's funny that his 3 wins come from 3 things. 1, the fact that I don't like CM Punk that much. 2, us beating, you know, Adam Cole and Riho in a handicap match after a baseball game. And 3, the Big Show gets given Eddie Guerrero's burritos again. Wait, I thought, hold on. I thought it was Dusty Rhodes eating a bunch of burritos. Start shitting himself halfway through. Once per match, I can eat Eddie Guerrero's burritos and shit my pants. Oh, can I cheese it? I can, wow. We can do this, I feel like. Ah, shit, fuck. Hold on. I forgot to switch the goddamn difficulty over. Once per match, I could shit my pants, and then I'll win. That right there is what we call the shitty tech. Again, I know this kind of flies in the face of what we've been doing, but I'm pretty sure that if you beat him here, you get him as a playable character, and I would like that. It's possible, chat. We can do it. It is incredibly possible. All right. Let's do it. Oh, look. It was definitely WWE bound Christopher Jericho. Cold Bro. I've seen you around because, you know, I recognize you from like Orange's shorts because I know that you edit some of them. Are you a Mark? Are you a Mark as well? Please say yes. Please say yes.
The contest is set for 1 fall.
Yes! Woo! It was WWE bound, almost definitely WWE bound Chris Jericho. Been a wrestling fan since Mania 31. LOL. 31?
His opponent, no more
Was that the one with like Roman and Brock main eventing and Rollins cashing in? All right, here we go. I'm locking in. Dude, big slaps on the big show. That's crazy. Curse, please. Yeah! The one time where it works and it's here. Dude, that's crazy. No! He lifted him up. It's the Pontiac Silverdome. Wow! Dude, that's insane. No way. Dude, he cradles him. Fickle fans. One more. We're going to pop off one more and then we're going to hit the finisher. No. No. You are not fucking this up for me, Paul. Alright, octopus stretch. There's actually plenty of places to go here, but let's just pretend there isn't. Holy shit! Did I do it? Did I unlock him? Dude, I better have fucking unlocked him. Because I don't want to like destroy our fucking run for nothing. I guess we could consider this a bonus match, short as it was. Why didn't Danhausen compete earlier? We will lose at the pay-per-view, though. I guarantee you that. Oh, hey, I did it! Unlock your first hidden wrestler. I unlocked Paul White. Cool. I do live within distance of where the Silver Dome was. LOL. I mean, that was very like Andre Hogan-esque right there. I feel like. That right there was goated work. I think with that, we need to go to an ad break, unfortunately.
It's break time.
Excuse me.
Where
I'll be
the
right
heck's
back.
the Cheetos, my dudes?
Rob rolls on after this.
This one's a devil to explain, so we'll let the game itself do the talking.
The rules. Devil Dice is an action puzzle dice game. Use the directional buttons to move the characters around. Make the dice move by using the directional buttons while the characters are standing on top of the dice. By moving the dice horizontally or vertically, align dice with the same numbers. The dice vanish when the same number as the number on the dice or more have been connected. For example, if the dice show 3, they vanish when the player connects 3 or more of them. The number on the face of the die, multiplied by the number of dice, is added to the player's score. These are the basic rules of the game. Let's try now for 5s. Move the dice around until 5 5s are aligned. The 5 dice vanish, and 5 times 5, or a total of 25 points is added to the player's score. Once the dice have been aligned, they vanish into the ground, like so. Dice which have only partially disappeared can still be used to connect with other dice. The player can continue adding more dice to those which have not completely vanished. The value of those dice are also added to the total score. This is the chain rule, one of the most important rules of the game.
The bottom line, Devil Dice is fun, but not worth $40.
Om nom nom, oh excuse me, we're back my dudes.
Oh my god! Welcome back to Raw. Okay, let's see what we can do on our last week here in AEW land. Again, if we get challenged to a dark match, I will take it, but otherwise we're just gonna go to the pay-per-view. Another question, Danhausen. Why did you have such a strange match at Dynamite instead of your advertised bout? I attract strange things like a magnet. If it's good strange, I embrace it. If it's bad strange, I kick its head off. And we have time for one more. I'm being bullied at school. How should I do about it? What should I do about it? If you're different, you are an easy target to some. They'll devalue you, underestimate you. I'll call out that type of person at Double or Nothing. Watch. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Danhausen, for attending. Great. Wait. So you're gonna call out the person who's been messing with you, huh? And then what, fight them? Not necessarily. They may want to play badminton for their eternal soul. Well, whatever. I know who my match is with at Double or Nothing. When I defeat Britt, it'll be match of the night, maybe of the year, is what I'll think going into it, and then she'll sandbag me. So it's not a good plan, or you're gonna let some kid down when you get your ass kicked at the pay-per-view? Your bullies are always right, brother. Adopt the things that they like and keep your fucking head down. That's my message to all the little House of Maniacs out there tonight. Bullies are shit, but they're also right. Just go in there, keep your head down. Picked everything I wanted to eat, and a few I didn't, just for good measure. I do kind of miss those nice waitresses. Tell me about everything I'm being served. Oh well. Get in my belly. Filling your plates as high as possible is like a game. Prize? You get to eat it all. Maybe don't overindulge before a big match. Buffets are wonderful but dangerous. Oh wait, we've already read this. Photo. Right? With crazy Ty Conti. With crazy Ty Mello here. It's Ty Mello, not Ty Conti. Yeah. Photo bombing fan in the background. That's good. Alright, sightseeing. Let's see if we actually get someone to challenge us now. Perfect weather, crystal clear water, lots of good looking people and not a lot of clothes. This is great. Forgot my swimsuit. Fuck. So we just stood there in the fucking sun in all black clothing and face paint. Dude, we're gonna look ridiculous going to the show with our freaking Danhausen farmer's tan. Spot the difference. 2 picks, they look the same, but are they? You can only pick one difference per round. Truly, that does sound in character for Danhausen. What, him just standing there in like the hot Las Vegas sun in all black clothes and face paint, forgetting to bring his gear? The difference is I'm going to win this game. Just watch.
I don't think I'd be good at this one.
I can't play spot the difference puzzles, says Justin Roberts. Oh, absolutely. It would be, though. That would be so fucking in character for him. CJ, you seem like the kind of person I want to talk a bit more with. Do I follow you on Blue Sky? If I don't, I need to fix that. Oh, hey, I do. Keep your DMs open. I would like to talk with you a little bit more. Anyways, we need to find the goddamn difference here. What is the difference here? I'd be no good at this either, frankly. What? Hey, what is the difference there? Chat, do you see the difference? Because I'm not. Do you see the difference, son? I don't. I don't see it at all. Wow, that is so minute. Wow. The rope was slightly off center. This is diabolical work. What? No, there was another difference there. It's the red on his trunks. Wow. Dude, that was diabolical. Wow. I'm going into the final match depressed as fuck. Wow. Because I lost my final mini game on BTE.
You know what that means? Double or nothing. Coming from scorching hot Las Vegas. One of AEW's most unique talents. A victim of some malicious so-called pranking is ready to call out the accuser. But will this be a case of be careful what you wish for?
Personally, I hope it is, because I want Danhausen out of AEW yesterday. Someone's been having a lot of fun at my expense lately. Canceled appearances, ruined meals. I have good reason to believe I know who's been doing it. Tonight, I'll spoil their Double or Nothing. It's Miro, isn't it? Miro, the Redeemer, God's favorite, yada yada yada. There's no bigger bully in AEW, but your size and your accent gave you away, Miro. I'm gonna beat you on behalf of everyone who's been bullied by jerks and made fun of for being different. Come out here. Don't wrestle in the heat. Learn from Goldberg and the Undertaker's crazy work. Wow. Oh, hey, we got him. Nice. That was sick as fuck. Unfortunately, after a showing like that, we still need to lose. All right, here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna let him get his shit in here real fast. And this is why he went back to WWE. Pretty sure. This right here does feel like a jobber match for Miro, though. You know? But no, like... Here, hold on. Hold on, let me, Miro, I know you're not gonna like it, but I want you to let me get some shit in here. I can't make all of the bullying victims feel like dog shit. They need to get something in, you know? They need to look at me and they need to say, hey, any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Is he still on like WWE's roster page? Is Miro? Or Rusev now again? Oh, stop! I don't think he's been on TV since the last time is now, Tony. Again, I can't just let Miro get all of his shit in. I need to like make sure that the bullying victims don't feel sad after the match entirely, you know? They need to get something in. It needs to be convincing where it's like, you know what? The bully beat up his victim, but maybe next time he won't. maybe next time he won't, you know? I will say, though, that Meltzer needs to give this 4 stars or else. Exactly. Or else I'm going to go and bully a 13-year-old. If Meltzer gives us 3¼ stars, I'm gonna go and give a 13-year-old a swirly. Wait, can I curse? Can I curse? Please let... No, I can't. I can't curse. Why can't I curse him? Oh, nice. I'm at least gonna give him like a minor injury here. See, kids, if you wanna make sure that your bullies never pick on you again, you gotta do a little of this. And a little of that. And then you look underneath the lunch table and you find a little of this. Another one. This time with no electricity on it. And you hit him again. And you hit him again. And then you do a little of that. I am fucking Miro up here, dude. If you want to stop your bullies, bring a weapon to school. Oh, wait, that's not right. Wait, is this false count anywhere? Oh shit. Oh shit. Ow. Fuck. Wow. Wait, can I pin him out here? Oh, it doesn't look like I can. Get up, you big brute. Alright, now it's time for the bully to get his shit back here. I await my lunch money being stolen and my swirly. Oh, no. Yes? Get your shit in, dude. Literally, I'm right here. Ow! Oh, no, he's gonna get his blood all over me, man. This is gonna be gross. Danhausen murders Miro with the bat. I did it for the children. Don't be a bully, be a star, I say as I fucking mutilate Miro. I say as I mutilate my bullies with a fucking electrified barbed wire bat. It's just a little bit of schoolyard fun, guys. Just a little bit of schoolyard fun. Got Turtleneck Christian. It was even that long ago, huh? Yes, Danhausen, it is I who set those trials before you. I stripped you of your vanity, your glutton, your pride. Unfortunately, you could not overcome. You could not redeem yourself. How disappointing. Like an underpowered game character unable to defeat the final boss. You've achieved nothing but game over. They say cheaters never win. Not his gluten. But apparently bullies do. Danhausen may have found the identity of the offender. Unfortunately, couldn't make him pay. I mean, did you see me hit him with a fucking bat like that, dude? That was pretty gnarly, honestly. I gotta say that was pretty friggin' gnarly. That was a Pyrrhic victory, if anything. Miro's recent illicit behavior toward Danhausen was revealed at Double or Nothing. Oh, okay, well, you know what? I told the fucking principal. It'll be rectified here soon. While Danhausen did not get vengeance, I plan to discuss repercussions internally. Miro's actions were unacceptable. He won't get away with this. Tony, what the hell do you mean? He means that he's gonna send him home and let him set out the rest of his contract. This is oddly accurate for talent relations. Danhausen nearly killed Miro in a non-simulation match. Oh, well, I plan to finish the job. I plan to finish the job. And there'll be nothing left of Miro by the time I'm done. There'll be nothing left of Miro by the time I'm done with him. Nothing left. You complete all scenarios. To field. I'm leaving the door and I'm going to WWE. Fine. Dude, what's my career grade? D. D for Danhausen, man. So really, that was the best grade that we could have gotten, I feel like. What a run. What a run for the gloat of AEW. D for Danhausen. And that's how we end our run in AEW Fight Forever, which honestly, his punishment, getting paid more in WWE, but being used less. Which I don't know. If you're Miro, you might like that. But I don't know. A for D Danhausen. You just capitalize the A instead of the D. I like that. Excuse me. Wait, do we have any like moves here that we can buy, or just like taunts? About more items. Oh goodness. Old like Jericho Titantron? Wait, what? Oh, okay. Got it. This fucking Titantron here. Wait, is it gonna show like the people walking? Oh wait, no, it's gonna show like the world revolving around him and stuff. I remember this one. First, break the walls down for Stranger Things. I love that. What the hell is this like black hole sun? Won't you come? Fucking like Titantron here. That's crazy. Yeah, Don Callis. Lance Archer. Inner Circle. Wow. Wait, are these just like entrances here? Are these like entrance animations? Wait, is this Shinsuke? Yeah, that's Shinsuke Nakamura, isn't it? In case you create Shinsuke Nakamura, there it is. Naito. Let's see here, because like some of them are like entirely like the people that they say they are. I don't know which one that is. That feels familiar, but I don't know. Which one is Sabu? Alright, well that's just generic stuff, right? I don't know. The ring general? No way they had fucking Gunter in this game. That's crazy. I don't know. It's not Kane, I can tell you that. John Morrison. Wait, which one is this? I don't know. I don't know which one that is. Clearly that's Joy Giovanni. Clearly that's Giovanni Vinci.
Hello, Mario.
Alistair Black. Emil Batstorm, hi. Welcome to tonight's Little Boy Club meeting. That's like old Alistair Black, too. You got the Sandman there. Wait, no. That's Marty Skrull. Oh, no. Wait. Which one is that? That is also not the Sandman because he would drink from a friggin' can, not a bottle. That's Ric Flair. Let's see here. Slapping chest. I don't know. Honestly. Goober. I am a goober, yes. Thank you. I try my best. Do I know that there's like a Roman Reigns one in here too? All right, well that one right there is as fucking generic as it gets. Wait, no, that's it. Dude, that's Roman. That's Roman right there. That shit right there is Roman to a T. No, go back. Go back. Back. That right there was Roman to a T. Yeah, this one right here. Ooh, ah. Like literally. Which one goes like whoa, blah, 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 and then smacks his face? It's gotta be like a big man, right? I choose to think that's the boogeyman. AJ Styles. Yeah, that dude. That is such AJ Styles. Look at this. What is this last one? Wait, no, that's Finn Balor. That's Balor. That's Balor. That's like Demon Finn specifically. But this one is... Dude, which one is this? Oh, wait, no. This one's Goldberg. I remember, this one's Goldberg. Yeah. Yeah, like some of these are actually pretty good pulls. Like you got Naito there. You got Shinsuke. I'd be surprised if they don't have Okada here in some fashion. You know? You could tell me 64 is Trish and I'd believe it. Well, no, 64 is a man's entrance. That's not a woman's entrance. Where's one that's like the Rainmaker? I'm surprised that they had Gunter in this game. John Morrison. I don't know. That could be like anyone, I feel like. Jack Swagger. Check 1, 2. Oh, yeah. Maybe Shawn Michaels? I don't know. No, I choose... You know what? I choose to retcon this into the Sandman. You know? I choose to retcon that one in particular into the Sandman. There's nothing that anyone can do about that. Let's see. That's surprised, honestly. A lot of 2K games have moves for wrestlers in their promotions. Just for custom movesets. Yeah, they do. I thought this said butthole for a second. Bullet hole. I thought bullet hole said butthole for a second. This is just blatant though, LOL. I mean, like, listen. They also have like a lot like of entrances that are just other wrestlers too. So it's not like unique. It's not like a unique thing. Dude, that's awesome. Wow. Black suits. Michael Nakazawa. Yeah, you got the Druids here. I guess if you wanna make the Undertaker, you absolutely can. Cool. Oh yeah, so you're gonna do a battle with the face paint, right? Let's go ahead and let's do that. Wait, hold on. Let's go ahead and let's do that here. And then we'll move on to the post-show. How's that sound? Let's go to Danhausen. Darbs. And Stink. Where is Stink? Those were the Deadlock boys, not Stink. Honestly, this is Aura. This right here is fucking Aura. Wow. I'm a big fan of this contingent here. Here. Let's actually have that Sting as a figure, like the AEW version, or just like one that's like licensed by WWE. Let's see here. Let's go to the haunted house.
This is a three-way match set for one fall.
Did you think you would ever see these three individuals collide in a three-way match?
Honestly, no. If I'm being honest with you, absolutely not. Dude, where's this fire coming from? The fire's coming from inside the house. Fucking stop. Dude, fucking stop that. People are trying to sleep. The demons are doing the pyro. Oh yeah, that's right. Dude, this is sick as hell. Wow. You got like the zombies in the fucking cage and stuff. It's like fucking like ambient like horror noises outside. There's like no audience. It's great. Dude, with features like this, how the fuck did this game fail? Where you got both Danhausen and Darby going at it on Sting in both directions here. But now it looks like Sting's trying to get the upper hand here. And now the focus has been shifted over to Darby. As both Dan and Darby lock up here. Get out of here, old man. As both Danhausen and Darby lock up here. What's this? And the curse is ineffective. Darby breaking up the Darby breaking up the hold on Sting there, and all three men are exchanging shots on each other here. But Sting, the big man of the match. I don't think he's been brought down to his feet once ever since this match began. He's been able to maintain a good vertical base here, aside from that drop kick. Anytime that he's been brought down, yeah, that zombie is marking out crazy over there. That zombie is marking out crazy style. The big pile driver onto Darby Allin here. Yeah, that zombie is marking the fuck out here for Danhausen, Darby Allin, and Sting. I mean, honestly, they're probably big, like, Danhausen guys. He is very nice and very evil. This right here is his whole aesthetic, you know? This right here is the entire aesthetic for him. We got the big strike combo here from Darby Allin. And now Danhausen going to work on the big man. Maybe going for an early pin here, and Darby's there to break it up. Darby now focused on Danhausen. Now he's got the big strikes here too, and to the code red from Darby Allin. And Sting trying to steal the thunder from Darby Allin. But Darby may have one for him too. And Danhausen breaks it up. The double team action, the stereo backstabber there. Darby immediately Stun Dog Millionaire.
Hello, Mario.
Ko-Fi. Thank you, Emil. I really appreciate that. I don't know if your thing will show up on stream. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay? If you plan on donating, I really appreciate that. If you don't, that's fine. If you do, let me know. So that way I can fucking thank you. Because I honestly don't remember if I have a Ko-Fi properly set up. Yeah. How you doing, Emil? Sorry, I didn't, like, properly, like, you know, greet you earlier. Hopefully you're doing alright. We have about 1 hour left in the stream. After this match, we're going to take a bit of a break, and then I'm going to head into the post-show portion of the show here. We're going to play some Cookie Clicker, and I have a few things I kind of want to talk about. Not like important things, but more so. The Hello Mario alert is funny. That was like an idea that like an old streamer friend had a long time ago, and I was just like, you know what would be funny? And it is. Like it's at the point where like, if it's not working and people come in with their first message, people are like, where's the Hello Mario? Where is it? Like it feels like something's missing, you know? The show cannot go on without Hello Mario to keep us all, you know, down to earth. For us to ensure that, you know, the show can happen as planned and that the person doing it is not some fucking imposter, you know? Alright, Darby Allin go for the pin, that might be it. Papa Sting is there to break it up immediately. Darby has enough energy to get one more off, and he waits a little too long to get there. He's staying on the veteran Sting. As he's getting up to the top rope there. Avalanche suplex there. From the Daredevil Darby Allin into a body, rather like a body splash of his own. Atomic drop from Sting. Sting showing why he is multiple-time world champion, one of the best to ever do it. He could be in control of this match, but coffin drop from Darby Allin, that could be it. Right there. One, two, three. Darby Allin walked into Danhausen's backyard, and he is the winner here tonight.
We've had tonight.
Incredible work from the future world champion Darby Allin. Spectate a calm versus calm match. I didn't realize that was a thing that you had to do as like an achievement in this game. Danhausen losing Mira must have really affected him. I thought he would have gotten an electric bat by now. You would have thought so, but apparently Danhausen had more respect for his opponents this time around. He wanted to make sure that shit was done the right way. Anyways, I think that we need to take a bit of a break here while I set up the post show. So, don't go anywhere, y'all. I'll be back here in just a few minutes with some talky stuff. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the post show here. Again, my name is Giraffe Estev. Thank you for watching the main portion of tonight's programming. I don't really know why I'm talking like this. I don't know. Feels right. Feels right for what's essentially kind of, you know, the wind down period of tonight's events. Tonight, sorry. Hold on, let me get some water. Thanks. To close out tonight, I kind of want to talk to you guys about losing interest in something that you once really loved. Because over the past year or so, I've kind of noticed something change in me, right? Not like a puberty thing. I'm 26, it's fine. But I'm talking more in the sense of like, I used to really like something. That something being gaming, right? And over time, I've just become really disenchanted with it, you know? Like a lot of the games that I would really like sink hours and hours into. Stuff like Monster Hunter, Fortnite. Although I know that Fortnite has its own bullshit happening right now, but that's besides the point. Basically stuff that you could classify as more hardcore. I've just kind of lost interest in. With the exception of Sonic, which has been, you know, like my main franchise for years and years at this point. A series that really means the world to me, you know? with the exception of that, my interest in like big budget games has basically flatlined, you know? I don't really care about what Nintendo's doing. I don't really care, for the most part, what Sony's doing. I especially don't care about what Microsoft's doing. I don't even think they care about what they're doing. A lot of what I play these days is in the simulator department. Stuff like American Truck Simulator, Total Extreme Wrestling 9. Dude, last year, I played maybe 2 or 3, like, big hardcore games. One of them being Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which I would hesitate to consider a hardcore title. Really, it's just it's a title that's made for me and me specifically. I played, you know, a little bit of like Planet Zoo as well. The majority of like my intake of like big budget games is from me watching my friends or my roommates play them, you know? You know, like a lot of that also comes down to just like games being more expensive now than they used to be. Like games are just so unforgivably expensive at this point. So that definitely doesn't help. But also just like nothing is coming out that interests me. Nothing is really pulling me over there. Everything just feels so incredibly safe now. And just not tailored to my specific tastes. Which honestly, I feel like those have changed a lot too. Like, I didn't used to play stuff like American Truck Simulator. I thought that I was too dumb for shit like TEW. But what I found is that those games give me the most agency out of any other type of game. You know? In games like American Truck Simulator and Total Extreme Wrestling, you can do basically anything you want within the confines of the game. You know? Like, obviously there are restrictions and there are things that, you know, the game wants you to follow. But aside from, like, those base kind of, you know, like, guiding principles, those games just let you loose. You know? They let you totally loose and you can make of it what you want. And I like that agency, you know? Plus, just a lot of games have become so monetized now. Like, Fortnite is kind of like the poster child of that, you know? It is everything the video game. And maybe I don't really want everything the video game. I just want a fucking game where I can where I can, like, you know, create the shows I want, sign the wrestlers I want, and then just go nuts with that, you know? Or maybe I just want to drive around the state of California and Arizona and goddamn New Mexico, Walta, and deliver goddamn air conditioning units. I don't know. My tastes are changing and it's hard for me to relate to a lot of my friends these days because a lot of them are still into that sort of stuff. They're still into those hardcore games. And when they talk about, you know, like, the stuff that's coming out, or the bullshit that these, you know, AAA publishers are doing now, a lot of it just slides off my brain these days, you know? And it's weird because I used to be passionate about that sort of stuff, and now I'm just not. I think that's completely valid, honestly. It feels like there's a lot of big games, like, feels like there's not a lot of big games, like absolute must-plays for a generation. And it's made me go back to smaller titles and realize how much big games are just not as much fun now. Dude, last year I got more playtime out of TEW than I had for any other game, besides maybe Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And the only reason that I'm playing Sonic Racing Cross Worlds are twofold. One, because I'm a mark for Sonic, you know? And two, because I want to platinum the game, you know? Like, Sonic is just such an important series to me in terms of, like, you know, just like my human makeup and my kind of like I guess, like, emotional makeup as well, you know? Especially as an autistic person, it means a lot to me. So the fact that Sonic was outpaced by a text-based wrestling booking simulator that started development 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago, should probably say something. Like, a lot of big games are just trying to get the most out of you as they can now. And these days, I don't want that. I just want to fucking book Abyss and Delirious to win the goddamn NWA World Tag Team Championships. You know? That's all I want out of this life at this point. It's all I want. Excuse me. But thank you. I'm glad that I'm not, like, just fucking losing my mind over this. Because again, like, whenever I hear my friends talk about that stuff, it just slides off my brain. Because I don't care. You know? I'm too busy over here booking goddamn Abyss and Delirious as the Heart of Darkness. And I try not to say, oh, I'm not listening because I don't care, because that's a very kind of like neurotypical kind of like approach to that, you know? It just kind of, it's really unfair to like just dismiss people's, you know, interests and stuff just because you don't care, you know? So I'm just kind of at a point where I nod along. I'm just like, yeah, okay. But I don't retain it, you know? I'm just completely unplugged from that stuff, and I'm playing my own shit, and I'm much happier for it, you know? I mean, obviously, like, you know, the big first-party pubs are doing their bullshit, and the third-party pubs are doing their bullshit, and that obviously sucks. But I'm just like, I only have so many spoons, and frankly, I'm kind of at a point where I have bigger fish to fry now, you know? I don't have the time to be following this stuff, nor do I have the energy to. So just let me book AJ Styles and Monty Brown in the main event of Slammiversary. AJ Styles pins Monty Brown to win the NWA title because Monty Brown had a run with the title. And then I'll be happy, you know? And then finally I'll find some happiness in this life. I started playing more retro games recently, one of them being Pokemon Crystal. I would like to play the retro Pokemon games because that's when, I don't know, things just felt simpler, I guess. There wasn't as much... Hold on, I'm gonna fucking mash. I know for me, this last generation of console games has just been absolutely nothing. There aren't any exclusive titles keeping me to a platform, there aren't any big franchises that are getting new entries, and a lot of the biggest games are live service titles with some not great monetization. I would like to play Sonic Rumble, but it's like the first Sonic game in like several years that I didn't jump on release date. Like, here's the thing. I jumped on Forces day one. Forces. But I've not played Rumble, and that's been out for like 3 months at this point. You know? 3 months, give or take a month. And I'm just like, I don't want to get sucked into this game's economy. You know? Because I know how I am. I look at Sonic, and I don't criticize, I clap. You know? I don't criticize, I fucking clap. I know how I am. But no, I'm absolutely with you. Like, the Switch 2 has been out for 6 months at this point, and what does it really have? It's got Mario Kart World. Cool, but like, I'm playing Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and honestly, it looks like I prefer that better. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Honestly, the only reason I would buy a Switch 2 right now. Pokemon... What is it? Pokemon Legends 2? The first one didn't really grab me, it just kind of felt like bargain bin Monster Hunter. What else does the Switch 2 have? And a lot of third-party games that are key card only. Like even my beloved Shadow Generations, for as good as it is key card only. You know? Oh hey, golden cookie. Wait, what do we have? Cookie production is there for several seconds. We need more wizards. More wizards. I read on a forum that Schmalugals were a natural remedy for hair loss, so I've been killing them and rubbing their juices on my scalp. PlayStation has been pushing the same franchises for the last few years. Last of Us, God of War, Horizon. Xbox is just a joke at this point. Nintendo's making fun games but can't justify an $80 price tag. And honestly, indies are what's keeping me most excited. Like, you look over at what the indies are, even just off the top of my head. I'm thinking about, like, Hollow Knight Silksong, which, yes, that is a sequel. But it's like a highly anticipated sequel, you know? It's like 5 or 8 years removed from the original game. You also have Dispatch, which, oh my god, I want to play that on stream. I'll probably do that next, honestly. Because it just looks like the kind of game that's made for me specifically. What else is there? You also have Planet Coaster 2. If you enjoy, you know, your tycoon type games. Here, actually, I'm gonna go on Steam and see what's kind of relevant right now. You got the Midnight Walk, Hades 2, Peak. I've not played Peak, but I would like to. RV There Yet? Expedition 33. Like, these are just games that I'm seeing from, like, the Steam Awards list, you know? You have Schedule 1 as well. I need to add more games to my Steam wish list. Because a lot of things just kind of, you know, come across my desk and I just never add them, even though I would like to. Like Tavern Keeper here, this shit looks exactly like the kind of game I want, you know? I honestly had more fun playing games from like the Wii to 3DS era. I've been meaning to pick up my 3DS and just play some of the shit that's on there because the 3DS has a huge, like, back library, you know? Like, the amount of, like, mileage you can get out of a 3DS in 2025 is insane, and that's before you crack it, you know? That's even before you crack it. After you crack it, oh my lord. By the way, I just added goddamn Tavern Keeper to my wish list. Also, okay, I need to retract that because Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is one that I played a lot last year. I played Kingdom Come 2 a lot last year. That game's probably my favorite, like, RPG of all time at this point. It is so fucking good. In terms of, like, production and, like, density of quests, of, like, actual, like, quests that you would want to do, ones that are written, have specific characters and stories to them. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is unmatched, I feel like. It seriously impressed me last year. I thought Again, I thought it was going to be something that, like, I was gonna be, like, too fucking dumb for, right? But I enjoy just the density of, like, role-playing options at your disposal, you know? Like, even outside of combat, there's so much that you can do to, like, influence Henry's character, you know? Be it from, like, the way he talks to people, the actions that he does in the world. There's, like, a lot that you can do to influence your character build. And again, it goes back to that level of agency that I like, you know? I like it when things are more open-ended, you know? Obviously, I wouldn't want it to be so open-ended that structure is completely thrown out the window. But from my perspective, the more influence I have over things, the better. You know? The more influence I have over shit, the better. I'm buying 10 nuts. Let's see. I'm sure. It's a harvest. Seeds do I have? Not this. How many cookies do I need? 74. Go fuck yourself, man. Go fuck yourself, more like. Wow. Unfortunately, I need to retire here for the night since I have been up working. So because I have to be up for work in T-minus 6 hours. Hope you and chat have a fantastic night. Thank you for fucking hanging out with us, CJ. This was very fun. I appreciate you throwing your hat into the ring there. Still love the 3DS. I like the 3DS too. I played it quite a lot when I was a kid. Obviously not so much anymore because, you know, I'm an adult and I don't have school. I was kind of talking about it with my friend Patch a while back about how as much as I would like to get more mileage out of my Switch, I just can't think of many applications for it in my current life, you know? Because everything is just so fast-paced now, and my life is so kind of compressed into a few areas, right? And like, I just can't think of like any good, you know, places or ways to take advantage of its gimmick. You know, a lot of that has to do with just like the death of third places, you know? A lot of it has to do with the death of the third place, which is in and of itself like a whole ass thing. Oh, hey. Big nuts going up, chat. Big nut. Let's see here. But yeah, you know, like as time has gone on and as I've gotten older, it's just been a little harder to justify, you know, not just like getting stuff like a Switch 2 or a Steam Deck, but also just using my Switch, you know, because I never find myself in situations where I have time to play it, you know? Like, yeah, like, it's portable, it's great, but, like, I'm not a portable person. Well, what I mean by that is I don't find myself in a lot of situations where having a portable system would be advantageous, you know? I'm someone who's, like, always on the move, who's, like, jobs always demand of him to not be in one place at one time, you know? Buy low, sell high. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm not, like, crazy for saying all this. About how, like, my interests in games have just kind of... I don't want to say, like, completely flatlined, but my interests have, like, changed substantially over time. Like, there are games that I enjoy, but the kinds of games I enjoy are just very niched down, I guess, or a lot less hardcore in nature. Here, let's see. Oh, hey, Cookie Production. Come on. All across the board. The main reason why I still have my 3DS is because it's easy to take with me when I'm traveling. Well, no, I mean, like, I get that. Like, do you find yourself in situations where, like, you would be able to play it a lot? And what I mean by that is situations where you're outside the house. Because obviously, like, you can play it in your house. But, you know, a portable system is kind of at its best when you're not in the home, you know? That's their whole appeal. That you can play games outside of the home, you know? That's the entire appeal of something like a 3DS or a Switch, even. The potential of you playing it outside of your home. Even if you don't, like, do it all that often, you know, like, that's their main appeal. All right. Dude, butter is so cheap right now. I'm buying that shit up. Crazy style. Wow. Dude, I have maximum butter, and when that shit goes up, so will our profits. Well, hopefully it goes up. Dude, that's how volatile the stock market is, I guess. Because cereals, chocolate, and butter, they're all in the pits. Nuts are not as much in the pits, but they're getting there. Let's see here. But yeah, like, I remember playing, like, Smash 3DS a lot on my 3DS when I was in high school. Those were fun times. I remember really wanting the Wii U version for, like, basically ever since I got the 3DS version, because I was one of the guys on Earth that had a Wii U. I'd like to travel a bit more this year, or at least try to. You know, I would like to travel a bit more as well. Particularly to go see more wrestling shows. Because I was in Chicago last month for World's End. But obviously, you know, that's only for like... I was only there for like, you know, a day or two. I wasn't really able to kind of take in, you know, the city of Chicago. Which is unfortunate, because I really like Chicago. I like it a lot more than my hometown, I'll tell you that. Just culturally, I'll say. Because I live in a pretty red part of the country, and I don't like that. I had the advantage of being a cis-het white man, so most people either really nice to me or they don't pay me any mind. But, you know, my friends aren't here, or at least like a lot of them are not here, and I would like to go where they are. The people I identify with largely are not here, and I would like to go to those places where, you know, I can identify with them. Yeah. The point is, I would like to go back to Chicago for more of an extended period. So that way I can kind of, you know, hang out with my buds over there more and take in things a little more too. That would be fun. That would be nice. I need water. What are we doing on cereal stock? Right, butter's going up. Holy shit! Where would you want to go? Where'd you want to go, Emil? Portal? A portal? Opens a door to the Cookieverse? How many does it produce? Nearly 32 million per second. Wow. What are like the upgrades to this? Ancient tablet. Portals are twice as efficient. Wow. I was supposed to say, like, living in Sweden for the most part. Yes, I'm Swedish. I enjoyed visiting other countries. Well, hello from the US. Hello to Sweden. Hopefully you're doing well over there. I mean, with how things are going over here in the States, traveling to another country doesn't sound too bad. I don't know, generally I would just like to live somewhere that's a little more blue. Or visit somewhere that's a little more blue. Because again, as a predominantly cis-het white man, with some flavorings of asexuality, I'm pretty safe over here. But a lot of people I know would not be. So, you know, as time goes on, I just don't really kind of identify with, like, people that are more religious than me. I myself am not very religious, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is I would like to sort of be with my people more, if that makes sense. I would like to go back to Europe at some point. Europe's a nice place. Rough start of the year so far. Slept on ice outside my apartment a few days ago on the way to the store. Oh, I'm sorry. Hopefully you're not too hurt. God. Those goddamn butter stocks are volatile, dude. But cereal's going up major style. Wow. I would like for it to get halfway up the goddamn chart before I sell my stock. Well, hopefully you're not too hurt after the slip and fall. Let's see. Where are my spell casts? Here. Instantly summon a Wrinkler if conditions are fulfilled. There's a Wrinkler. Note to self, be more careful when walking on ice. Well, yes. Yes, in fact. Let's see. Hand of Fate. Summons a random golden cookie. Each existing golden cookie makes this spell 15% more likely to. Sinister Fate. I'm sorry? What's Sinister Fate do? That's very ominous. No. I'm not clicking that. Alright, fine. Wait, hold on. Hold on! Holy shit! Okay, well that was a lot. Note to self, be more careful when walking on ice. Absolutely. Absolutely be more careful when walking on ice. Spell I have cost magic with twice the chance of backfiring. No eligible spells. Because I do not have enough goddamn magic. Conjure baked goods. I like that. Okay. I think that we're pretty good for the night, honestly. Let me check my stocks again. Oh, hey, hold on. No, I think that we're pretty good for the night, honestly. Let me check my stocks again, make sure that we're not going down too much. This was a fun stream. Appreciate everyone for fucking joining me tonight. The next time that we stream, we are going to do some goddamn Yakuza Like a Dragon. We've been going through that for the past while. Absolutely, please fucking join the Discord. You'll love it there, especially if you're a fan of wrestling. We are doing weekly watch-alongs over there. The next one that we're going to be doing is Mucha Lucha, which I've not seen any of. I've never seen it before. When I told that to my video editor, they were like, that's fucking impossible. How have you not seen it? Well, that was before I was really into wrestling. Like, it came out a few years before I got into it. And then, you know, by the time I got into it, it was over, so. Oops. We'll be rectifying that this coming weekend. Yeah. We're gonna be streaming once again on Thursday. That time, or rather like on that day, we're gonna be kind of going through the miscellaneous modes of AEW Fight Forever. Particularly, the Stadium Stampede mode. Some of the other shit that's in there. I know nothing about wrestling, but joined anyways. Oh, brother, you will fucking learn a lot if you continue watching me. I guarantee you that. But yeah, my voice sounds a little raspy. I'm gonna end it off here. See you guys next time. Have a good night. Water.